Friday night. Friday night. I have no better intro than that. It is just a Friday night, and I am happy to be back hanging out with you guys here for another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. Oh, wow, I accidentally had the stream still playing in the background. Luckily, my desktop audio was not being picked up through the main OBS platform, so you guys had no idea. I probably shouldn't have said anything, and you would have thought that this stream, for once, was going off without a hitch. But aside from my typical boomerism, it is Friday night. It is another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly here at Studio Kabuto. That's weird. I'm trying that out. I don't know if I like that intro yet. But yes, guys, I'm happy to be back here. I'm happy to be hanging out with you. We have a lot to talk about after a very, 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 very uneventful weekend. One of the most uneventful weekends in like recent history. I can't remember the last time I had nothing happened in the world on a weekend. But after that weekend, we've had a lot of interesting pop culture developments, if you will. Obviously, if you guys caught the thumbnail tonight, the main topic of discussion is DC's absolutely 3Edgy5Me reboot, their absolute universe. It's a thing. It's their 900th try at making an ultimate universe. That's what we'll be talking about mainly when we get into it. We'll also probably be talking a little bit about the Crisis on Infinite Earths movie. The third part of the trilogy just came out this week, and there are thoughts to be had about it. Obviously, what was I going to say about that? Oh yeah, given that it's obviously going to be a DC-centric stream probably tonight, except for the fact that we do have a new Deadpool and Wolverine trailer that I think warrants some discussion, at least mentioning. You know, we don't have to really go like deep diving into it, but I at least have some thoughts I'd want to, talk about, gather your guys' thoughts, all that sort of fun stuff. And yeah, as always, aside from that, if there's anything you guys want to talk about, let me know. This show here is supposed to be an open forum for you guys to talk. Hang out, kick your weekends off on a good note because we put up with so much crap throughout the week. So without further ado, let's get into the show. Let's start talking to you guys. But before we get started, I just want to note, in case you guys, if you've talked to me at all this week, you might know this, but right now I am in the middle of rewatching Batman the Brave and the Bold, and that is hands down, on the topic of DC, I think that is hands down, Batman the Animated Series is the GOAT. That is probably objectively the best adaptation of Batman, but to me, I don't know, like personally, I think Brave and the Bold is, I wouldn't say better, it's just different. I don't know. I really like Brave and the Bold. I think it's one of the better adaptations of Batman. I even, as you can tell by my little back and forth with myself here, I almost, I consider it on the level, on par with animated series. So, you got everybody out there, if you want to have fun, go check out Batman Brave and the Bold. It is just, I cannot say enough good things about it. Everybody who worked on that show clearly loved the source material, clearly understood the source material. They wanted to honor it. They wanted to have fun with the things they liked and not, change everything so that it was their own new wacky, edgy version or whatever. So, yes, go watch Brave and the Bold. But all that praise aside, don't worry, we'll probably be talking more about it considering how obsessed I've been with it this week. I'll probably make 700 references to it throughout the show. But that being said, let's kick off the show from here in this 1,000-degree bunker in Arizona. Let's start by saying hello to the chat, starting with Tehillam, my man. Shalom and good to see you. Definitely an interesting topic for chat. Hopefully should be getting my first Viz Signature Ultraman manga today and sometime this upcoming week. Definitely series I didn't think I'd like. Nice to be proven wrong thanks to the anime Netflix. So, yeah, I'm really glad you're getting into Ultraman. Obviously it's a tokusatsu series. It's one of the big three, if you will. It's one of my favorites of all time. Obviously, no surprise there. I know there's a lot of debate around the Netflix version, the very high-tech armored Ultraman version that they do in that series, and the manga that they made after that, compared to what Ultraman normally is. And I hear all of the discourse, but I'm kind of with you, Tehillam. I really, 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 really like the Netflix version and that manga that came after it. I know it's different, but to me, that it's essentially the ultimate universe version of Ultraman, right? Look at that. We already got our running theme for the night. But yes, I'm glad you're getting into it. You should definitely check out Ultraman Rising, the movie. It's different. It's obviously not so shonen-y pardon me, you know, not no armors, none of that, but it's a classic Ultraman story. It's really, really well done. It's animated. Check it out. I think you'll really, really like it. It's from the guy who did, or one of the people who worked on, I think it's the writer of Tito, what is that? Kubo and the 2 strings and the 10 strings or whatever. That's a good movie. But yes, highly recommend it. Always happy to see another Ultraman fan. Super Araya Pro is probably happy to have you aboard. And I'm happy to have you aboard as well, Tehillim. And I know you said might not be able to stay long, family thing to go to. Hey, it means the world to me that you can show up even just to leave a comment. You know what I mean? That you don't feel obligated to hang around if you got other things to do. All right, we've got Andrew yelling gay. Yes, welcome to the gay stream on YouTube. My gay streak is, what are we at now? 19 days. I have not played Xenoblade because I've just been insanely busy. Yes, not fun, but yes, happy to see you, Andrew. Happy to be hanging out with you. Obviously, I need my soundboard for comic book talking, right? Let's see. We've got Dante is in here, or he stopped by for a second saying, have a good stream, boss. About to head into a screening of Seven Samurai. It's the 70th anniversary, and now I get to watch 3.4 hours of 4K restoration. I prefer 35mm, but beggars can't be choosers. This is probably as close as I get to a favorite movie. Hey, enjoy, Dante, my man. First of all, happy to see you. Enjoy the movie. I love that movie. That movie is incredible. I know I'm not breaking any ground here with that opinion, but I am actually jealous that you get to go see it in such high quality. I do wish there was a 35mm print of that as well. Maybe someday. I have no idea what the current status of the preservation of that is right now, but yeah, maybe someday we'll get it. But hey, have fun. If you want to write a review later, hey, we'll be open for it. But no, more importantly, go have fun. Happy to see you, my friend. Film Watcher is here saying, I need to get the Criterion Collection release of Seven Samurai. Hey, man, it's always, hey, nice to see you again, Film Watcher. I know you stopped by last week, and I'm happy to see you as well. Zero is here, says I'm here. Nice. I watched most of the second video on Revan while I was waiting. Oh, you're still playing Knights of the Old Republic? Otherwise, I have no idea what other video you were watching. Oh, whoa. Explosion volume indeed. Sorry, guys. I did not realize that for some reason my microphone was peaking that much. Holy crap. Yeah, I was hitting red just by... I'm pretty far away from my mic and I was peaking. That was bad. So thank you, Zero, for letting me know on that. Late! You do not get to call me late, Andrew. There was a very good reason why I was late, you bastard. All right? And you know exactly why. Let's see. Yeah, Andrew says, I hate DC Absolute Power so much. Oh, Film Watcher. Film Watcher says, oh, okay, never mind. Whew! He's asking who played the Concord Open Beta, not I played the Concord Open Beta. Film Watcher, you scared me for a second there. So, yeah, maybe we'll talk. Let me get through super chat, or not super chats, but the chat really quick. Film Watcher, I think we can talk about Concord for a little bit because this thing is a complete absolute disaster. So I think we should talk about that. And unfortunately, no, I do not have any Criterion Collection releases. This is just an anecdote that really doesn't mean anything or go anywhere, but there was a point in my life around 2020 or the end of 2019, right before 2020, where I was in this position of I had a lot of extra income floating around, and I was sort of, I was able to collect all of my stuff, my vinyls, my cards, my toys, and I was like, maybe I'll start getting Criterion Collection releases because I really, really like those, and I love the essays. And then my life fell apart, where not specifically COVID related, but just kind of Mavlore here. 2020, my life, like the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020, my life fell apart. Lost my big boy job, lost my girlfriend left me, lost my house, all that sort of fun stuff. So it was a rough patch, but I do wish I want to start getting them. I just at this point, I just hang out with my Pakistani movie dealer, and he hooks me up with the best Criterion releases. Let's see. Meter Advocate Tamo, what is up, my amigo, my Brazilian amigo, who my second Brazilian amigo in addition to Zero, saying, hey yo Spencer, I got news on the Sandrock front. After the first vendor didn't send the kit, I found a local place, more money, and bought the kit. but I got an email from the previous vendor with a package tracking number. Long story short, I'll be the owner of 2 Sandrocks, might sell one. That has happened to me a lot. And I sometimes I laugh when it happens because it's like, oh, hey, look, it would have all worked out anyway. But then I get all like uppity about it to myself because I'm like, why did I spend that much money? For example, a couple weeks ago, I bought the design cover variants for Ultimate Spider-Man 1 and Ultimate Black Panther 1. And when I went to the site, I hit order, I placed the order. PayPal said, okay, we've sent your money. And I got no confirmation email. And I was like, that's weird. But okay, let me hit this again. And I hit the button again and it said, oh, here's your confirmation. Now you got it. I went, oh, cool. Long story short, they ended up sending me 2 copies of it. So now I've got 2 design variants of Ultimate Spider-Man 1, 2 of Black Panther, and they're neat to have. But yeah, now I guess I got to sell them. I bet you could probably make a pretty penny for him, Timon, given what I know about the Brazilian economy and the current status of the Gunpla market down there in the anime merch market. I bet you could, at the very least, get back what you paid for the second one, the more expensive local one. But either way, I'm glad you got it. I love Sandrock. He's easily one of my favorite suits from Gundam Wing. And yeah, no complaints there. I think I've said this before on stream, but fun fact, whenever I need to name a fictional like village anything, like particularly my Animal Crossing villages, it's always Sandrock after the Gundam because it just... I don't know what to name a town, and Sandrock sounded cool, and it sounds like a place, so 11-year-old me thought, let's run with that. Let's see. Hey, Shinkai is here. How's it going, Cowboy? How is it going to you, my Western amigo? Picking up any more Cowboy media? Also, funny, the best Cowboys, Shinkai, I feel like I should have mentioned this last week, but we didn't get around to it. My favorite Cowboys in anime are the Cowboy Bebop, what do you call them? The hosts of the Bounty live show, or whatever you want to call it. You know how in Bebop there's always that show they watch where they go, here's the bounty. What is it called? Oh, it's like Big Shot, I think. It's basically like America's Most Wanted, but it's for bounty hunters, and it's got like the black guy and the really busty blonde like American chick as your host. Those are some of my favorite Cowboys. Also, there's a really, really, really good episode of Cowboy Bebop that involves a cowboy. We obviously don't have to get into it, but Cowboy Andy, what a bastard. So definitely check out. I'm sure most of, if not all of us here have already watched Cowboy Bebop, so you don't need me to sit here and go watch one of the greatest anime of absolutely all time. Let's see. Film watcher, Andrew, no, thank you guys. I love everybody who watches the show, everybody who hangs out and talks to me. You guys legitimately are a bright spot, and don't worry, I'm doing okay now. It was rough back then, but onward and upwards as you got to keep moving forward. So we're in a good place now. Obviously, you guys see me goofing off and laughing pretty much every week on stream. So yeah, we're good now, and a lot of that had to do with you guys. So thank you for hanging out with me. Andrew says, yeah, my wallet is crying. I'm getting 7 resin Xenoblade statues this year. I saw your post in your Discord server where you listed out all the pre-orders. And so for those who don't know, he's got 8 different, or like 7, I thought it was 8, but it's 7 different Xenoblade statues on pre-order. They're from 2 different manufacturers. And I think you hit the same sort of trap I did, Andrew, where it's like, yeah, would you have spent all of that money on these resin statues normally? No, but you can't not get the set, right? You're going to get 2 of them. You got to get the 3rd one. So my heart does bleed for you. I recently, so there is a, what do you call it? Square Enix. They have this line of figures called Bring Arts figures, which are really, really highly detailed recreations of in-game character models or in-game artwork, as opposed to their Play Arts Kai line, which is more like they design for the line, if that makes any sense, right? Like they have to do models for that, and then the Bring Arts are more just true to the game. So in the Bring Arts lines, the Square Enix has not recently, but they announced a couple years ago that they were going to start doing a line of Final Fantasy VII figures that depicted everybody in their original, like, PS1, not polygonal form, but like their PS1 here, why? What am I doing? We are on the internet. We can do things like show you guys exactly what the hell I'm talking about, because otherwise I'm just gonna sound stupid. So, da, 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 da. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Let's go to our web talk. All right. And yes, everybody, in case, let's knock this out of the way because I know we're all going to notice it. Our stream buddy tonight is this is Zatanna from the most recent episode of World's Finest out of DC, as drawn by Dan Mora. And I have said this before, and I will probably say it as we get more into the DC talk, but Dan Mora should draw fucking everything. Dan Mora is easily the top 3 artists currently drawing in the industry, like drawing interiors right now. The man absolutely cooks. I mean, 2 weeks ago when we went through Absolute Power, the shot of Superman, taking the slugs to the chest, the shot of Wonder Woman looking up, the way Animal Man and his daughter look so adorable when they land in the park. Like, the man, he is inhuman in his artworks almost. So this was in the latest issue of World's Finest, and I just cannot get over how this Zatanna is like adorable. She's cute. Like, why wouldn't I want to hang out with her? But yes, I'm going to start a petition to rename DC Comics from Detective Comics to Dan Mora Comics, because this man should be in charge of literally every art thing they do over there. I just read the solicits for October for DC, and I guess Dan Mora's taken a bit of a break from World's Finest because obviously he's cooking over at Absolute Power. And I was like legitimately bummed. I'm like, I'll give the book a shot, but that takes the wind out of my sails. But regardless, so this is what I was talking about. You can see they do, it's based on the original like PS1 depictions of everybody, the what do you call it? The manual art, the visual key art. But as you guys can probably see, they're pretty expensive. And while I pre-ordered all of these a long time ago, especially the ones that have already been sold out, so Cloud, Sephiroth, Barrett for some reason, all of those are sold out. I have them all. Don't worry about that. But yeah, they're like 120 a pop. And for some reason, Square decided they wanted to release them all in a 3-month window this year. So, or not all of them, obviously, like Yuffie, and they're coming in waves. But the first wave is all dropping this month and next. So I have to dish out a bunch of cash for that. It's not fun. Not fun in the least, but hey, it's gonna be worth it. Someday, when I have the room to display all of my stuff, we're gonna have a live stream where I'm just gonna walk you around the museum that is all of my crap. All right, let's see. Going back to what were we even looking at before I got here? I do not remember, but let's see. Let's get Film Watcher says, I don't have a lot of Criterion Collection releases. I own like 16, and that's it. One or then is the Wall-E 4K they released. That Wall-E 4K was really good. I was so surprised when that one got a Criterion Collection release, because I think that was like the first, I want to say it was the first like Pixar movie that got one, but if not the first Pixar, then the first modern-ish Pixar movie that wasn't Toy Story. I always forget which films get Criterion releases, because it's always the most random selection of things. It's like, oh, here's the movie that won 700 awards at the 1951 Academy Awards and redefined a generation of filmmaking, and push coloring techniques to, past Technicolor and set the stage for where we are now. And then, like, oh yeah, Francis Ford Coppola once huffed a bunch of paint and, etch-a-sketched 2 frames and then put it over a soundtrack of a guy farting. Masterpiece, Criterion release. So they've gotten so expensive, I always forget. So I just have to look them up. Let's see. Shinkai says, funny enough, found an English covered and needless opening called Modern Strange Cowboy. Since finding it yesterday, listened to it at least 10 times. Do like the opening, even if anime had some problems. I think I've heard that cover going around like the last couple of days. I feel like I think I know which one you're talking about, and because I was all about it like last week, I think. I don't know, very random, but no, good song, good cover. Unfortunately, a very complicated anime, which is sort of where we get with a lot of modern anime these days, right? It starts out really strong, and it's not even modern anime, it's just sort of the trend. It starts out strong and then just sort of falls apart into nonsense as you near the end for whatever reason, whether the director didn't know what he was doing, whether the budget ran out, whether the production committee just said get this on air. It is unfortunate, and it happens too much, and it makes me so wary to be hype for anime that come out. Like, that's why with anime, sort of like I am with comic books, I wait for everything to sort of wrap up and then I'll watch it to the end, because I'm not gonna invest my time in 12, 20 episodes and then, like with No Game No Life, and then have it end and it kind of ends you on a really rushed cliffhanger and then never continues again. Nothing, absolutely nothing worse than that. And I know that No Game No Life isn't the only anime that does that, but it does happen more often than we would like it. Hey, Corey is here. What is up? What is going on, my man? Always a pleasure to see you. I know it's rare to catch you when you're not taking Andrew for a ride in Mario Kart, but I'm glad you can spend these few pit stops here with me tonight. Yeah. Oh, Andrew, I wish I could like highlight comments. I don't know how to do that yet. I need to sit down and revamp everything. Don't worry, it's coming. But yeah, Dan Mora Comics. He needs to draw everything. The man can draw. Who would I say is probably? It's like him. Who would I say? Like my top 3 artists working in Western comics right now would probably be. Oh, it's him. It's Iban, and Jim Lee doesn't really count because he's all covers and everything now. Like all the big ones, your Frank Cho's, your Jim Lee's, your like Peach Momoko. Well, Peach Momoko, I don't count her really. Like, I love her. She's one of my favorites, but her style is so different from Western comics and obviously isn't for everybody that I sort of put her in a league of her own in a good way. But yeah, I think it would be like in no particular order. It's Dan Mora, Iban Cabello, and I think that's who I would do that, Andrew. That's exactly who it would be. It would be Jorge Jimenez. That man is absolutely bonkers at what he's cooking. And I think, hell yeah, I'm a simp for Momoko Timon. I love her stuff, and her Ultimate X-Men is cooking. Like, we got a new issue this week. We learned that the villain of Ultimate X-Men is Shadow King. We're about to see the introduction of Ultimate Cyclops, or at least one version of Ultimate Cyclops. Who knows if they decide they want to do like the Jimmy Hudson thing and bring in the real Cyclops later. But no, I will never apologize for my simping for Momoko. Corey says, sorry I'm late, was playing NCAA football 25, so I'm going to have even less time now. Is that I've seen some story going around this week, and I haven't kept up with it because I unfortunately am not a big college sports fan, mainly because the colleges I went to did not have really good sports programs. My alma mater was UC Irvine out in California. We have a really good basketball team, and I follow them, but we don't have a football team. Our baseball team was okay. Our water athletics are fine. Our soccer team was fine. But I never had the, go to Friday nights, go to the big stadium, Ole Miss, Texas Tech. Like, I wish I did, because I love sports. I think you guys know that. I'm a Wea bro, and I would have loved to have that sort of environment, but it wasn't in the cards. I went to the big old Asian nerd school, and big old Asian nerd schools do not necessarily have American football programs. But more to the point, I've heard some story going around, and maybe Corey, you have some info, and if you're busy, don't even worry about it. It's not that important to the show, but I think there's something where like they released a college game into like pre-beta or pre-order, and people are really liking it, but the NCAA doesn't want to endorse. There's something weird going on with that, but I bring it up because even though I don't know the exact details, I know that whatever this kerfuffle is going to be objectively better for the industry once we get there. Hopefully, just because we need more sports competitor games outside of Madden and that stuff. Whoa. That was weird. Okay. Uh, does that ever happen to you guys? Like, I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you guys. I have my music player. I use Music Beat. It's open in the background. It's not playing anything, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, music kicks on. I just got a huge blast of Tenacious D right through my headset. um, yeah, Film Watcher says, okay, yeah, no other Disney was in Criterion before. That's what I thought. And then, yeah, true, they would be like that sometimes, but I still buy them. I do too. Like, I'm still interested in it, Film Watcher. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love all the essays. I love the fact that they get preserved so well, but it doesn't change the fact that I sometimes just can never keep track of which movie specifically has a Criterion release. um, Shinkai says Needless came out in 2009. Not sure what anime you are talking about. Sent you the link for the cover on X. Hope you don't mind. No, I'm not saying that anime was just came out. I'm saying that cover, like the English cover or a English cover of that theme, has been passed around like a couple of the Discords I've been in. I've seen it on my feed this week. It's just one of those like. What is that effect? Like you see something and then you start seeing it everywhere. You know what I mean? No, I saw your DM. Don't, guys, not just Shinkai, but anybody watching, don't feel free to hit me up on Twitter, on Discord, send me DMs, tag me on things. Admittedly, I am very, very bad about getting back to people, but I love seeing all of you guys shoot back stuff to me. I love, yeah. I love knowing that you guys want to talk about stuff. I'll always like the tweets. I'll retweet it if it's something particularly amazing. So never feel bad about wanting to send me something, talk to me about something. I mean, where's Volume Dealer? Volume Dealer sends me stuff all the time. Let's see. We have Lizard of Linux Lane saying too cool for correct numbers. I absolutely too cool for correct numbers, but mostly because 2 and 4, this is too edgy. This is way more edgy than just 2 and 4. We are 3Edgy5Me. Yeah, exactly. There you go, Timon. Send a DM and wait 3 months for an answer. I'm particularly bad about Twitter DMs because I'm in like 7 group chats and they're always going off. So at some point I just got to be like, I'll let you guys sort it out. I gotta go do anything else. Hey, there's Volume Dealer. Exactly. Speak of the man and he will appear. Oh, there we go, Corey. They had early release for deluxe editions, but I don't know anything about NCAA not endorsing it. They are allowed to pay players to be in the game now. That's why they brought the series back. Okay. Yeah, I guess I was clearly confused. Like I said, I didn't know the exact details, but I have seen just everybody raving about that. I guess it is the NCAA football one. So glad you're enjoying it. If the mechanics are solid, I would check it out because I still love football, but always happy to see more competition in any sphere, really. Yeah, dude, Hulkamania. I'm not going to rip my shirt because I don't have the Hulkster's $1,004,000 to buy a new Kamen Rider, what do you call this? Tank top? But the spirit, the sentiment is there. All right. So before 29 Hulk Hogan's versus 1 Macho Man Royal Rumble match. Well, the problem with that, the 29 Hulk Hogan's are just men. Macho Man has ascended to biblical. He's an angel. He's got the power. He has the power of God and anime on his side now. Macho Man, put it this way, Macho Man died and he prevented the end of the world. What has Hogan done lately? All right? No, I'm kidding. I actually do like Hogan. I don't have all that hate for him. I think he is a hilarious character as a person. One of my favorite tweets is his let's see if I can find it. Cuz he has one of my favorite tweets and every time I see it I'm like that's the life I aspire to personally. This is the energy we all should be having. Google wants to be all slow right now. Oh man, did you guys see that CrowdStrike stuff? That is absolutely the most sorry guys. That's the most insane thing. In case you guys don't know, the cybersecurity firm for whatever what did I say? Whatever. Oh God, I don't even. What am I even saying? I'm getting all completely turned up because I cannot find the tweet. And because I'm typing in the. But yeah, the CrowdStrike server, this big cybersecurity company, like they had a huge outage that went over the entire world, and planes were ground. Like infrastructure came to a halt. Like right now, I don't know anything that's happening with it. I'm obviously like I'm not gonna speculate, but I will admit to like it's really really fishy. There is something really really fucked up going on with that. So but regardless of what is happening at the upper levels with it, it is just absolutely insane that it happened in the first place. Yeah, exactly, Lizard of Linux Lane. Microsoft should have checked the update before approving it. Microsoft L, CrowdStrike L2. Oh, have you seen... I'll show you guys in a second. So first off, this is like one of my favorite tweets of all time. Don't even try to bullshit us, brother. And you got his little Chihuahua dog back there. Because for those of you who don't know, I am an absolutely giant fan. Like, I love little dogs. And that's probably because I'm a giant person. Like, I'm 6'4". But I love the little dogs. You can just scoop them up and hug them. And they're the best. So, but you guys gotta check this out. Because this is absolutely insane. Yeah, so as right here, I don't think I've seen a more nervous response than this. So this is the CrowdStrike CEO. He went on the Today Show this morning to sort of talk about everything. This guy, he's not doing okay. This guy's not having a great day.
Sort of backup.
Oh, here, let me restart. I had the audio muted.
Why is there not some kind of redundancy or some sort of backup? How is it that one single software bug can have such a profound and immediate impact?
Well, when you look at the complexity of cybersecurity, you're always trying to stay one step ahead of the adversaries. Excuse me. Man, just 1 second, please.
Oh yeah, take a drink of water.
World's most world's most cooked man, and he knows it. Like, absolutely awful. Yeah, right here, Lizard of Linux says, I've already had an online business transaction fail. Microsoft screwing with my business even after switching to Linux. That's the, like, okay, this is one point that's my biggest takeaway from all of this, whatever happened, whether it was a really bad update that they didn't check, whether it was intentional, whether it was somebody just screwing up at their job, whether somebody spilled coffee on a console. Regardless of that, this whole incident sort of opened my eyes, Linux, to, like, remember how back in the early 2000s, in the early days of the internet, the strength of the internet was that it was decentralized. You know, something goes down over there. Okay, well, you can go play this game over here. You can go to that site over there. You can go to this, because they're on different servers. They're going through different programs. Now everything is so consolidated and conglomerated into, you know, go to Microsoft, go to Apple, go to all, you know, IBM, all these 5 companies, that when one of their things go down, everything is going to go down that's attached to it. And there's clearly no fails, or there were probably fail safes that failed to be fail safes. And yeah, like you said, Andrew, that man is having a bad day. Like, absolutely just the worst. I was online last night, so this sort of all broke and started happening around, pardon me, midnight last night, or midnight Pacific time, so very very late in the overall global time sphere, especially in America. I happened to be up at the time, and I just saw sort of chaos unfolding on my timeline. Like, no, people don't know what to do. Like Linux said, businesses were affected, people are shut down. One of my really good buddies, you guys, sometimes he comes and he hangs out in here, Nils, his business, a lot of his clients used Microsoft platforms for their job to send orders to him. They couldn't do it today, so he kind of just sat around and was like, all right, 3-day weekend. So it was just really 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 I don't know the current situation. I believe they've fixed it, or they're rolling out fixes for it, but either way, the big takeaway is, yes, exactly, Shinkai. People really need to learn about eggs in baskets. Guy looks worse than me giving a presentation, and Shinkai goes full Porky Pig. I just love the, like he's clearly, he can't even get the words out, because he knows there's nothing he can say that is going to guarantee any confidence in the situation. So yeah, that's what I can say is, don't put your eggs all in one basket. And also, if you happen to have thousands of dollars sitting around, today would have been a really good day to invest in CrowdStrike and Microsoft, because those stocks would have come right back come Monday. But yeah, absolutely insane development that we're living in. people say we're living in like boring times and nothing really happens in the world, but dude, look at what happened Saturday. Look at what happened here. We are living through really crazy times. Honestly, the last time I remember a global shutdown or like a system-wide fuck up like this, it was when do you guys remember when like Ghislaine Maxwell was like leaving the country or whatever, and all of the terminals or all of the like computer systems at the airport went down to check passports? That was the last time I remember this happening, but it's still just absolutely crazy and unprecedented. Let's see. Yeah, Lizard of Linux Elaine says, some IT guy won at CloudStrike and Microsoft, probably approved the update without testing first. Sucks to be whoever that was. It was probably untested or just like wasn't fully ready to go. I can see that happening too. You know, somebody accidentally puts out the wrong build. Either way, like this man, you are going to find whoever did this by accident. They are going to either be like working in a grocery store or they are unpersoned. Like it's just crazy. Yeah, exactly. Eccentric. First of all, Eccentric Banana, what is up, amigo? Second, yeah, where's Edward Snowden? I think we got him back. Oh no, he's still over there in Russia. Where? That's right. Get eyes on Snowden. Get eyes on Snowden. And yes, Volume Dealer, Savannah Guthrie is all of them are annoying. I don't find any of the like Today Show hosts, any of the View hosts, I don't find. The last time I liked a morning show host was Michael Shannon, when he was doing like Michael and Kelly. And that's only because I like the guy himself. Like he was a celebrity, a football player before that. So yeah, all of these people are just annoying beyond annoying. But yeah, let's get to where were you? I just saw your comment, Film Watcher. Yes. So let's talk about what are we going to talk about? What are we going to look at while we talk about this? Okay, sure. We'll crack open Forbes and we'll look at this. And it's even from today, so it's relevant. So let's talk about Concord, because there is a lot to talk about with this game. For those of you, and I feel like I'm not going to say like I'm an expert here, but I feel like I have some things to say on this as somebody who is a giant, gamer, hero shooter player, all that sort of fun stuff. So long story short, for those of you who don't remember, when back in, what was it now, April, May, there was a PlayStation showcase where they revealed a couple of their upcoming titles, and during that showcase, their big, it was their Summer Games Fest showcase, excuse me, I just remembered that. So during the Summer Games Fest, Sony PlayStation had their presentation, and with it was this game, Concord. Do you guys have the trailer in here? That would be nice to, let's go to YouTube, and maybe, there we go. Here, we'll look at the gameplay trailer, we'll just have it on in the background, but this was Sony's big reveal of the year. They thought this was going to absolutely blow everyone out of the way. But upon looking at the gameplay, it was revealed as a very, very, very generic hero shooter. If like you can see, this is just, I'm seeing Overwatch, I'm seeing Valorant, I'm seeing nothing new here. And that's really, really bad, because we are in an era where hero shooters are way passé, right? A couple weeks ago, we talked about Marvel Rivals. That's coming out. That's the third-person Marvel superhero hero shooter that I'm going to play, and I'm not going to be happy about it. But if you guys remember, I straight up said, what are we doing here? You guys are way late to the party. This is 10 years too late almost. Overwatch was 2016, and we are now in 2024. Most people don't want these these types of games anymore, especially when you have to pay $40 for them. I think that's a really big thing we all got to keep in mind is you can go play Overwatch 2 right now for free. You can go play Valorant for free. You can go play Fortnite for free. You can go play Call of Duty Warzone for free. Obviously, there are cosmetics and everything that you can buy, but the base game, there is no pay to win in those games. You can just go get it and play it. This game costs you $40 out the box to access it, which is just, again, it's a very outdated just thing altogether. Like the entire package of Concord is completely out of date. top and to add to that, so that's where we're looking at with gameplay, a very outdated, boring gameplay. It gets worse when you look at the characters themselves. There is a trailer, we obviously don't have to sit through it. We can all go look at it later, but there's a character like cinematic trailer, and this game is every complaint we've had about the MCU for the last 5-10 years. The best way I've heard it described is that this game is dollar store Guardians of the Galaxy. Dollar store MCU Guardians of the Galaxy. So a lot of the quips, a lot of the underhanded, or like the break up all the serious moment with jokes. Everybody, is so aloof and so cool, and I don't need to focus on that mission. I'm what I am. Oh, that guy's a really big nerd. Like it's very much James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy's The Shooter. So obviously it's not, when it debuted, it was not looking hot to anybody. Then we go in and we saw let's see, we can find, can we find Concord characters select? So then one of the most important things for these sorts of games are the heroes themselves, right? Overwatch, for all of its faults, for as crappy as that game got, you can't deny that in its original release or whatever, when they first came out with it, those characters were a big selling point. They had unique personalities. They made you want to play as them. They made you want to buy merch because they were unique. They were different. They looked cool. Like, I still think Tracer has a really cool design. I think Reinhardt has a really cool design. As edgy as he is, Reaper has a very cool design. So this is what we get in Concord. We get this very... the best way, this is the most like designed by committee game I think I've ever seen. Just everything here feels really bad, really basic, and just slapped together of really boring, like, sci-fi tropes. Like, oh, you've got your this is your Star-Lord. Look at her. She's so badass. She doesn't really care about you. Here's your Drax, your big muscle guy, which is literally all he is a shotgun character. Then you've got her, whatever is going on here, you've got this, and these are just like, nobody here feels really fun. This guy kind of looks cool, if only for the originality, but nothing here. The art direction is just really boring and generic. It doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel really that creative. It feels a lot like I'm playing so there's this phenomena that I haven't really coined it. I don't really know how to talk about it specifically, but in recent years, instead of being a fan of being a fan of something what am I trying to say here? It's so hard. When something gets popular, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I'm not giving like a Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech. I just need to talk about my theory. Basically, with the internet and the rise of likes and social media popularity and all that stuff, fandom has slowly shifted, or like the general sense of fandom, especially among young people, has shifted from, I am a genuine fan of this material, to I am a fan of being a fan of this material. Right? And the best way I always sort of like to illustrate this is Dungeons and Dragons, where a lot of the people who claim to play, or who play D&D now, or claim to be giant D&D fans, they don't really care about the game itself. They don't really care about the mechanics or the lore per se. They like it because Vox Machina made it cool. Critical Role is a thing. They want to like that stuff. So then they like that stuff. I'll like that stuff because they like that stuff, not because they actually want to engage with it. So you get it. It's sort of the soul versus soulless argument. So when those people who are only creating things because they're a fan of thing start creating things, you can tell all of it rings very hollow. It's all all look, no substance, all flash, no substance. So like right here, I look at this guy, Ranger, whatever, Jabali, and I see, this is what I would imagine somebody makes in a D&D campaign when they're having fun. It's a little goofy. You're going off the beaten path. You're not being hyper accurate. Let's give our adventurers brimmed hats or whatever. Like, I can see that. All of that emanates from this, but it doesn't feel like this design was made by somebody who had a genuine interest in exploring that concept. it just feels like it was somebody who went, this is my character. Isn't it cool? Isn't D&D so cool now? Aren't hero shooters so cool now? So, and you see this effect in a lot of stuff. A lot of people, a lot of, Western comic book creators especially, when they say, or not just comic book, but media creators, they are making the media because to appeal to fans of being fans of stuff. They don't give a crap about actually being a fan or what the fans actually care about. They just know that being a fan right now is fashionable. So they roll into that and they try to emulate it, but because they don't understand the core of what it is, it's never going to hit properly. Another good example, sort of in the same realm, is country music, right? A lot of people, for understandable reasons, like with all genres, make fun of country music for some of its more predictable lyrical choices, right? My heart's broken, my truck had some problems, I love my country, my job is hard, but I have my dog. Those are very common tropes, and so a lot of people reference them for good reason. Now, when you hear somebody who genuinely, like, if there's somebody who's a genuine country music musician and they want to write a song that embodies those lyrics, right? They'll write a song and it might seem a little like, he's singing about, his dog, his truck again, but there's a passion there, and you sort of go like, but you do you, man, like, you do you. If somebody came out and was like, country music, I'm a dumb, this is my country music song, like that, everybody, even if that person played the same or like said the same words, you would be able to tell, like, oh, you are just doing this because you thought you could do it, because you thought you could just walk in and do this. So it's the soul versus soulless argument in spades. But that's what all of these character designs feel like. They feel like you're just trying too hard to be quirky, zany, trying too hard to be unique almost, right? Like, look at the original Guardian, the original movie Guardians. You had Star-Lord, you had Drax, you had Gamora, you had Rocket Raccoon, and you had Groot. So if you break those guys down by themselves, here, let's look at our good old friends on the Guardians of the Galaxy. Why not hang out? Why not hang out with these fun folks, so that we can just get some visual backing to what I am talking about. So yeah, here was our original lineup for that first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, right? So even though nowadays we know all these characters, they're unique, they have personalities to them, right? We know Rocket is a tough exterior, but he's really hurt inside. We know that Groot is very wise, apparently. We'll just never know it. We know that Drax has he's a good father down in his heart. We know that Gamora is conflicted. But when we look at their sort of designs, the selling point to these characters, they're not really that unique when it comes to sci-fi. You have dashing, roguish, like, male lead, right? You got your Star-Lord. You have green alien lady in Gamora, which is literally, she's just a human but green. You have green alien man in Drax, who, again, even though he has tattoos, he's still just a green guy, essentially. You have talking space animal, which is still a human Earth-based thing that you can look at and go, yes, I know what that is. And then a walking tree. It's all these things that are sort of, you draw inspiration from around you and you extrapolate them. And in doing that, you communicate sort of what all their characters might be. In Concord, they just go, throw everything together. Oh yeah, this is great. Aren't we so quirky and unique? Like what is this thing? I hate whatever we just looked at right here. Like that was an awful character design. So yeah, that I know I deviated a little long into the character design aspect, and I see all you guys going like, what the hell is that thing? Big Mama, that shit. Like, yeah, exactly. Even here, you can see a microcosm of the reaction that we had at large at the Summer Games Fest. Nobody wanted this. This is just a game that, again, like I said, it's 8 years too late. Now, the beta has come out, so after they revealed this, they sort of said, it's a hero shooter, blah, 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 blah. But one of our big selling points is that every week we're going to release a new cutscene letting you get to know all of these characters. You get to hang out with them. You get to go know more of their personalities. And I brought this up, I believe, on the Bounding stream. I've been on a lot of streams this week, but I am not against having these sort of extra moments where you learn more about your characters' interpersonal lives. We have a lot of comic books that do that. Books do that all the time. That's what sort of TV miniseries are always for. I'm not against it in principle, but if you're going, yo guys, you're gonna love this, if you're making it a selling point, if you're going, yo, you guys are the like, you're gonna love this game so much that you're gonna want to tune in every week to, or not the game, you're gonna love these characters so much. Our characters are so great that they're gonna pull you in every week to keep coming back. That is what's gonna pull you in. Like, that doesn't seem like a very strong selling point to me. And B, I just don't know how sustainable that is, because this is a small studio. This isn't like Activision Blizzard. This isn't Bungie over with Destiny. This isn't Epic Games. This is a subsidiary of Sony, and a new subsidiary of Sony. So it seems like a lofty ambition for little purpose other than, oh, aren't we so different? But more to the point of why we brought this up. Obviously, as you guys can tell, character design is not fun. The gameplay itself, not fun. In reference to the fact that the beta has come out and all that, there are some YouTubers have done, or not just YouTubers, but reviewers or however you want to address them, have done and taken a look at Concord and broken it all down. It gameplay wise, I'm not going to get into it because this shit is an absolute mess. Like, it is a bonkers. Let me break down, and I don't genuinely expect anybody to follow what I'm about to say, but I'm just going to give you a taste of how the game's multiplayer mechanic works out. So, when you go into your multiplayer, you can pick your character, but each of these characters has 3 different loadout types. Sort of, if anybody here played the Mortal Kombat, I believe it was 10 or 11, and they each had their like fighting styles. It's sort of like that. So, you know, you might pick the dodge reload for her right here. That makes you able to reload while dodging. So on, the other variant might let you jump higher. The other variant might let you get more health back from packs. So you go in, you pick your variant, then you go, and first of all, you can't pick another character if somebody else has picked it. Just once that happens, they're off the board. Then once you play a match, if you win a round, then you can pick the same character, but you can't pick that same variant anymore. And then each of your teammates are able to pick a passive ability that stacks throughout the entire game. And there's like 6 of them, and you all have to coordinate for that. And it's just, and then you can have like certain loadouts, and you're supposed to set up like 4 different loadouts for one character. It's so, again, this game is trying way too hard to be unique and to set itself apart from the pack, to the point where it is tripping over itself and it's got too many bells and whistles. Do you remember? It is literally that Simpsons episode where Homer makes the car, and it like ruins his brother's company because his brother is like the automobile mogul, and he goes, okay, Homer, you can design a car, and he unveils it and it looks absolutely, here, why don't I just, again, like we are, is it, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
like it's this.
Esteemed stockholders, members of the press, Your Holiness, tonight we are going to witness automotive history.
Right? That's like Sony. Like, we're going to see game history.
Powerful like a gorilla, yet soft and yielding like a Nerf ball. Now at last, I have found it.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the car designed for the average man, the Homer.
Any questions?
What does this monstrosity cost?
Jerry, what's the sticker price?
$40.
$82,000. This monstrosity cost $82,000. What have I done? I mean, the zoo was fun, but I'm ruined.
Okay, I just realized what makes this clip here even funnier is the fact that, I don't know how many of you knew this. I just learned this earlier today. This game, so the studio behind this, Firewalk Studios, this is their first like big game, and whatever their like sales pitch deck was for this game was enough for Sony to buy them out and bring them in. Sony saw Concord or saw what they were cooking and went, we need them on our team. That needs to be a Sony exclusive title. You need to get that crap over here. And yeah, like convoluted mechanics, exactly, Lizard. Film Watcher says it's Destiny mixed with Overwatch mixed with DEI sprinkle, aka a crap fest. Yep, Corey. Yeah, Corey. Wow, The Simpsons did another prediction. They predicted the Cybertruck. Like 1,000. That's actually really good. I want to bring something up about that later, Corey. Remind me. That's what I'm saying, Andrew. Like, what the shit was in their pitch deck to get Sony to buy them outright? You are seeing it's sort of now. This is I'm gonna just detour for a second because of what Andrew said, but I am convinced that at this point the commodification or the corporatization of video games has led to everybody in these positions of leadership not fucking knowing anything about their demographics anymore, right? And I say that because we're living in this time when, particularly Sony and Microsoft are going through all these giant acquisition fests, but the studios we see them scooping up outside of like one or maybe two are not it's sort of like out of touch with what gamers want. They scooped up Bethesda during the time when Starfield was in pre-development, but even at that time, if you were on the ground as a player, you knew that Bethesda's reputation was completely in the toilet thanks to their complete bullshit handling of the Fallout franchise and their continually releasing Skyrim. When Sony bought Bungie for some reason, right? They paid millions of dollars for Bungie because they had Destiny, but Destiny was already sort of on life support at the time it was bought. The best purchase I think I can think of is Microsoft's purchase of Activision Blizzard King, because that's at least a company that still has something going for it, right? Like Call of Duty is still popular. People still play the Blizzard suite of games. As much as I hate to bring it into the conversation, Candy Crush is a gangbusters thing. So just even from a business decision, oh, hey, Lizard of Linux Lane is getting out of here. Hey, man, thank you for stopping by. It was a pleasure to hang out with you. Pleasure to meet you. Awesome talking to you. Hopefully I get to see you again. But thanks for stopping by. Take care. Have a great night, mi amigo. But yeah, so all of these decisions seem to be made 10 years sort of behind where we currently are in the gaming zeitgeist. So at this point, I just have to assume it's all the pencil pushers going, we have to look at this data. The data says this. And it's like, okay, but talk to somebody. And you'll see that data is completely skewed, or you're missing a factor or something out there. So it's just, yeah. So, but more to the point, more to our main point with bringing up Concord. So last weekend, the game opened to it hosted an open beta. Originally, the open beta was for pre-order players only. However, literally at the last second, right before the beta went live, Sony announced that the beta would also be made available for free to PSN Plus members. So anybody who has the online service for PSN. And in an attempt to bolster numbers, if you had a pre-order code into the beta, you got 5 extra codes to give to your friends to say, hey, come on board. And honestly, guys, I don't know about you. I feel like if I went to my friends, any of my friends, whether it's, Andrew, like Timon, Film Watcher, you guys here in the chat, or my friends, like here, down the street. If I went to them and I said, hey guys, do you want to play fucking Concord? I would either get laughed at, or at best we would play it for maybe 30 minutes while drinking beer and then switch back to something that was actually fun. Like this game, it was a really desperate move, a really desperate play, and it really didn't work out for them. So this is a bit of an update to the story. So last weekend, the game peaked at roughly 1,200, 1,400 consecutive players, and according to reports, that peak came right when the beta launched and only went down from there, which means everybody booted it up, looked at it, and went, not about that. So following that beta, we have an open beta this weekend for anybody on Steam, anybody on PSN. It's now open. You can go download it. You can have your matches. As you can see by this graph right here from Forbes, it's still not doing the best. It's still only peaked by double. You open it up to a platform and you open it up to a new platform and it doubles the numbers. Makes sense, but even still, that's a really bad result. And again, it doesn't beat that peak. It's still going down. You can see it right there. The peak of the users for Thursday, right when it went live for everybody. Still really, really, really bad. And that's just on Steam. Admittedly, we don't know the PlayStation numbers yet, but for an open beta for a blockbuster title that you're going to be charging $40 for, this is like in the Simpsons clip. They are ruined. Sony is ruined. Like, obviously, I'm being figurative. They're not actually ruined, but this is going to be disastrous for them. So I wish obviously my heart goes out to anybody who's going to lose their job because of, anybody who was like a technical person or an artist, whatever. That sucks. But at the same time, you reap what you sow, and you guys, all these video game companies need to just be smarter about what they're doing. And literally, Concord, to steal a generic turn of phrase, is not it at the very least. Film Watcher says they could have just brought back Mag Shooter Starhawk Warhawk for a $50 shooter for PS. I would have loved that. We do need to bring those games back. There's a lot of games that PlayStation is sitting on that they will do nothing with because it's not a sad dad walking simulator, right? Like Crash Bandicoot. It's the 5th one just got canceled because they said fart you. So or what's the other one that I always think about? Resistance, Fall of Man. How have we never gotten a new one of those? Or Killzone. Killzone has been dead for like a generation. How do you let that happen? I would even consider it dead for 2 generations because that PS4 entry was not the business. It was kind of crappy. Yeah, Corey says, you give this game to your enemies, not your friends. I would feel bad even giving this to my enemies. They don't deserve that. Like, oh, this game is just to put the stamp on it. Oh, dude, Corey, yes, they should bring back Siphon Filter series with modern mechanics. 1000%. Oh, dude, I feel, didn't they try to do that? Like 10 years ago, they tried to make a new Siphon Filter and then it just never went anywhere or it completely failed. So, but bottom line, when it comes to Concord itself, this is a disaster. I don't know who wants to play this. This is just, to me, the bottom line for Concord is that it is just the perfect encapsulation of everything that is wrong with not just video games, but modern entertainment, right? You have this focus on, all of our characters are so quirky. They're so different. We're going to make sure that this is so different that we stand out. We're going to make our stamp here. And you make everything convoluted, or you make really just awful character designs, and then you charge way egregious amounts of money for something that should not be charged for, and it just all sort of spirals from there. But I would not recommend playing Concord. I'm actually morbidly curious now that it's an open beta. I might download it just to see how awful it is for myself, but for the most part, this is going to be another Battleborn level of failure. In case anybody remembers that whole controversy with, for those who don't know, I got to bring it up just because it's my favorite. There was when Overwatch 1 was being developed and coming out, there was Cliffy B of Gears of War fame was working on another hero shooter called oh my god, why did I just blank on it? Battleborn. And it looked fine. There was nothing inherently awful about it, right? It obviously Blizzard or Overwatch had the Blizzard money and development team behind it, so it looked more polished and better and just an overall more quality experience. But Battleborn was fine. But Battleborn made this really bad move of trying to like directly come for Overwatch and being like, yeah, we're going to beat Overwatch. We're going to kick your ass. We're going to sell way more than you. And it didn't. And it shut down. And it completely tanked. And Cliffy B now just hangs out on Twitter whining and saying, please, somebody give Battleborn another chance. Yeah, Andrew remembers Battleborn. That game dropped to $5 at GameStop so fast. It was like a week before it went to $5. And then the only other relevance it had was Ready Player One. If you guys watched that, the Steven Spielberg movie, the adaptation, they're in that movie in the background, but that's because Cliffy had to go like, do you want them? You can use my characters, please use them. And they went, okay, sure. Why the hell not? Who's going to know? And so, yeah, it was just, I'm confusing the two. Lawbreakers is the one by Cliffy B. Battleborn was by Gearbox. That's right. Either way, both of those went completely down the tubes, immediately. So yeah, this is just a joke that is way too late. Yeah, I have one thing to say about Battleborn. Who? Yeah, Corey says, I don't know. I know they finished Gabe Logan's story and the series, but now would be a good time to bring him back. I think we need more stealthy games, right? We don't have Metal Gear Solid's not being made anymore. Dishonored has gone to a more action-y perspective. Assassin's Creed was never really a stealth game. So a really good strategic, like you can't just run and gun everywhere stealth game, I would be so in for that. Like, who do we got to talk to make that happen? Yeah, I miss Splinter Cell 2, Corey, but that was like, that was another victim of the same thing, right? What was the last one? Blackout. It went from, strategic, be quiet, shoot out a light bulb, wait 40 seconds for the thug to come over here patiently and then like grab his neck. Now it's, it's a cover shooter. It literally is hide behind these barrels, wait for the bullets to stop hitting. Sam Fisher pops out, wipes everybody down, and then ducks. Like, it's so sad. And then Filmwatcher96 says Snake Eater remake is coming out. So I know I'm going to probably be the contrarian in this conversation right now, but while I'm sure that it's going to be a technically impressive game, Delta, I'm kind of not excited about it because to me, it's another one of those, it is what I was talking about earlier. It's a soul versus soulless where they're trying too hard to be they're aiming for graphic fidelity with that game. Look how realistic it is. Look at how look at the pores on the boss's skin. And it's like, that's impressive. That is really cool. But the original game, the way it looked, the ugly yellow Apocalypse Now filter over it, the scraggy draw distance where you couldn't see that far, that was all sort of part of its art direction that sort of gave the game its atmosphere, its mystique. And so without that, I feel like it's just going to be, oh, look how pretty it is. And I'll probably play it. I'm a Metal Gear Solid slut. After Mega Man, I cannot say no to Metal Gear Solid. But it's one of those where I wish people need to care more about or pay more attention to like aesthetics and like visual communication of like what you're doing than just like, look how absolutely pretty this is. To me, it's one of those, that's a whole discussion where the Western video game industry has become too obsessed with, look, you can see an eyelash on Aloy's eye. It flickers in the wind. You can see the dust mote coming off of it. Okay, that's really cool. I can't believe we got here. How does it play? Is it fun? Is there anything to do here? So yeah, Reeve, I'm with you. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to be keeping an open mind. From the interviews I've seen with the remake team, I forget specifically who's doing it, they do seem to understand, like, yes, this is a big thing. We've been entrusted with a big part of culture, of entertainment. We want to do our best job. So you guys know me. I'm right there. I'm always open to have my, I will give it a chance, but those are my apprehensions at the top of it, if you will. Blacklist, that's what it was. What did I say? Blackout? Yeah, Blacklist. It went more action-oriented, and it didn't have Michael Ironside. It was okay, one-and-done kind of game for me. What they need, Corey, is we need another Pandora Tomorrow level Splinter Cell game where you just have all of these, not small, but like compact map areas, but with lots of different things to interact with and go around and ways to go about your mission. And bring back the multiplayer. The Splinter Cell multiplayer from Pandora Tomorrow, it was the best, where you were like the terror or the mercs versus the Splinter Cell agents. And somebody here said it, and I hear their complaints, but I also unfortunately disagree. Third party, like what third person stuff, I love the most. I love third person games. So that's why, like Marvel Rivals, I'm going to play it because it's a cool game in third person. That's why I prefer things like character action games, your Metal Gear Risings, your your Mega Man Legends, your Devil May Cries. That's my preferred like style. I know it's not for everybody, especially in a shooter capacity, but I don't even know where I was going. Oh yeah, but I really loved that about the Splinter Cell multiplayer. It was so good. Reef says, I bet you can say no to Metal Gear Survive. Okay. Yes, I did, but the honesty is, one, I think that rejection was helped by the fact that I was still salty over Kojima getting the boot, and I still am salty over that. Two, I won't lie, it's gone on sale for like $5 at times, and I've also seen it available at for my Pakistani PC. And there have been moments where I'm like, should I just see how bad it is? But obviously I've got I can't even find the time to play Xenoblade. I don't have the time to pound nails through my dick playing that game. Yeah, exactly. You can see that Aloy has the mumps. Oh boy, look at that round definition on her face. Great. Anyway, here's your next mission, which is to climb up this tower and unlock the next section of the map. Aren't you so excited? Are we having fun yet, you jerks? All right. Let's see. I think with that, let's get into as soon as I can pull up the actual thing. Man, I hate when I have to pull up like multiple articles. I get it. That's how you hit your clicks and your views. I get it, but I do it too, but it's still I don't have to like it. All right. Let's talk about it is 2024, another year, another new DC publishing initiative. I don't even it's very strange to me that they keep doing all these, here's New 52, here's Rebirth, here's remember DCU? Like DCYOU? I don't really understand what these lines are supposed to convey anymore. I know at the beginning it was supposed to be like, here's a new jump on point and a new set of stories, but everything just sort of rolls into each other now that it just feels like you're doing unnecessary branding it's reminiscent of how Marvel and DC and just Western comics will cancel a book to make a new #1, and it just continues the story from before, and you're like, you just did that to sell books because you think speculators are going to eat up a new #1. So that is what's firing in the background, Volume Dealer. The Omega Beam's on lock. So with the where do we even start with this? So like I said, new DC publishing initiative has been announced. It's going to be starting this October, and it is called the DC All In, it's like their version of Rebirth. It's DCU. It is all that, like, it's just the publishing line. Essentially, it is going to be made up of two different parts. One is the fallout from Absolute Power, represented in the bottom right corner here by our regular set of heroes. You've got your Booster, your Zatanna, Starfire, Wonder Woman, yada, yada, yada. The DCU we all know, maybe not love, but we all know. The other half of this initiative is going to be something called Absolute DC, the Absolute Universe, which essentially is going to be their attempt to, well, not their attempt, their latest attempt at an Ultimate style universe. So for those of you who just, obviously we all might know, but just quick refresher, back in the 2000s when Marvel launched the Ultimate line, the point of that line was to make a line that was more easily accessible to new readers, that wasn't bogged down by continuity, and B, a little more, I don't want to say realistic per se, because it didn't, it wasn't grim, dark, gritty, people getting their guts ripped. Well, actually it kind of was in the Ultimate. So yeah, it was a more realistic take on superheroes, but more realistic in a darker, this is, it's not all fun and games in the real world sort of way. And Ultimate did not suck, Timon. That there is a good point in that original Ultimate. The original Ultimate universe is good up until right before Ultimatum, and then it goes really, really fucking awful for a long time. And then what's his name? My man Jonathan Hickman comes in for New Avengers, New Ultimates, and he has a small run where he absolutely kills it, does all the fun stuff like introducing the Maker, introducing the city, yeah, like all of that stuff. Like Hickman kills it, and then they go off the rails again once Hickman leaves for the main Marvel books. Yes, that is emo Superman. We will get into it. I know that this image is flipped. Don't worry, there are the official solicits and covers later on in this article from AIPT. We will get a better look at it. Trust me, I was annoyed by this earlier because I considered using this image, the absolute power part over here, as the thumbnail for tonight's stream, but I kept have to like I would like repaste it and I'd have to twist it, and I was like, I'm getting annoyed with you. I don't want to work with this anymore. So yeah, the Ultimate Universe was meant as a way to get new readers in, let them jump in a spot that's not highly bogged down by continuity, and then you know, make the heroes a little more realistic, deal with more, you know, our modern world, if you will. So that is what this absolute universe is going to be. Now, I say it's their latest attempt at making an Ultimate Universe because I'm sure any of you guys who've read Marvel for more than or DC for more than a year, even if you don't read them anymore, if you read them at any point, you know that this is not the first time that DC has tried their own Ultimate line, and they've tried it to messy success in the past, right? There was the All-Star line that had All-Star Superman and All-Star Batman. There was the Earth 1 line that had Earth 1, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and even got a Teen Titans book out of it. There was the that essentially that's sort of what the Sean Gordon Murphy, what do they call it? The Murphyverse. That's sort of what that is too. DC has tried a lot to make these jump on points, like we're resetting everything, here's a new thing to appeal to a new subset of readers. And the problem is, and it's the same thing they did when they did the New 52, is they don't really commit to the idea, and in doing so it all really falls apart. So look at the All-Star Batman and Robin, All-Star Superman. You go, okay, we're going to do a line of sort of, you know, you can jump in here. We're reestablishing these characters. We're giving them a new continuity. Well, you let Morrison go do this really expansive, huge lore Superman story, and then you let Jim Lee do this really weird, on the ground, I'm very much subverting and going edgy, grimdark take on Batman and Robin. You didn't really say if they were ever going to link up together, and you just sort of let them fizzle out. Fizzle out is probably the best descriptor of how DC handles this. I mean, the Earth 1 books, for a while, I thought that they were going to try to have something there. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman got theirs. Batman and Wonder Woman got 2 volumes. I think Superman got a second volume. Teen Titans got a volume. Green Lantern got a volume. And then they just sort of abandoned all of their plans. They lost the cohesion, and it all sort of fell apart. One of the best way to sort of, or the best metaphor for DC's creative process essentially is, think about like when you get a bunch of friends together, right? Like maybe you're at a bar or you're at somebody's house and you go, okay, everybody, like, oh, do you guys all want to go? Let's go to the beach. Let's go hang out at the beach. And everybody goes, hell yeah, that sounds awesome. Everybody, we're going to the beach. And you guys text your friends and you get all your stuff ready and you pack it in the car, you tweet out, yo, beach day. And so you start going to the beach, and then you get a call 5 minutes in. And one of your buddies goes, dude, I got an emergency. I can't make it right now. So sorry. I didn't know this was coming up. I got to bail. You go, that's fine. Nope. Don't even trip about it. Then you get a text from another couple friends who say, hey man, sorry. I got your invite. I'm at work. I can't really make it right now. You go, that's fine. Don't even worry about it. Then you get down to the beach, and as you get to the beach, another one of your friends calls, and she says, sorry, I'm in a fight with my boyfriend. We're not in the mood anymore. We're going to have to pass tonight. And then you go, that's totally cool. Don't even worry about it. Eventually, your group of whatever 20 friends, 15 friends who were going to go to the beach, you're down to 4. And once you get there, everybody goes, still, like, are we still stoked? And it's like, we are, but it would have been way cooler if our plans didn't just slowly fall apart because nobody was around to do anything. That's exactly how I feel DC operates nowadays. So, as to what exactly we're looking at here with these, where? Okay, so this is what we're, what am I even trying to say here? So that's what the basic setup of the Absolute Universe is. Or let me step back. So that's sort of what the Absolute Universe is kind of at least giving vibes of, right? Is that it's another attempt to get DC their own Ultimate Universe, grim, edge, dark, completely included, and So the setup to this apparent universe is that it is a universe where instead of, you know, the DC heroes being the on the upper hand, like being the heroes, they're the underdogs. I believe in this universe, Darkseid has invaded. He's sort of the overall power in the universe, and that is what leads us to where we are. Hawk Tuah woman. Look, Eccentric Banana, you're on notice. The Hawk Tuah woman is like the most annoying like thing I've come across in recent weeks. I need her 20 minutes of oral fame to be completely gone by this point. I have never, I don't know where normies find that funny. It's like the funniest thing to normies. Everybody I know is like losing their minds, and I'm just like, what? It's always insane to me to think about like the different subsections of our society that exist. Like there's an entire section of millions of people who find Hawk Tuah completely funny, right? They think it's the funniest thing in the fucking world. And it's sort of the same phenomenon where they're like, to one thing that I always think about is that there is an entire universe of what I call boomer television that we are not even privy to. And that's all the like cop dramas, the procedural dramas, your Chicago Fire, your Chicago Med, your Law and Orders, your your like NCIS. All of these shows have like millions of spin-offs and dedicated like fandoms, and we don't know anything about it because it's just not our realm, right? I personally like SVU. I know it's kind of trashy and it's good popcorn television, right? I learned this week that there is like a couple seasons ago, the main character of Detective Stabler leaves the series to go investigate the mob, and I thought they were just writing Christopher Maloney out to let him go do other acting things because he was in that movie Happy. He made a couple cameos elsewhere. Come to learn, he went on to a spin-off that's been going for like 4 seasons and is renewed for 5. Like it's just it always sort of like blows my mind realizing that those people exist. Yeah, exactly, Andrew. I don't understand the appeal. Timon says, I don't get it. Why is it funny? And then Banana and Corey are saying all the memes have been hilarious. I don't know, man. This is just one of the ones where I think I'm not the core audience for it. I'm not gonna get it, and I'm happy that she's get that bread, girl. Get that bread. You go on stage to those country music concerts. You get those paid podcast appearances. You get that bag. But people like when people reference Hawk Tuah to me, I'm just like, blow job. I can say it like I am an adult. But yeah, so that's what we're sort of looking at with here's their synopsis of what the absolute universe is going to be. Quote, here, DC's biggest icons are coming of age with fewer advantages and facing greater opposition than before, while miraculously remaining the immutable heroism that has inspired fans for decades. But can they really protect the light that shines inside them when the world in which they live in is hurtling towards a terrible destiny? So yeah, world where Darkseid is all strong, all powerful. I will admit, as loath as I am, I think this is probably going to be the closest we are going to get to an official continuation of the Snyderverse. I mean, we'll see. Just look at you guys will see the Trinity designs of everybody as we get into it. Obviously, Darkseid is like the big bad, main bad. He's won everything here. So, Bouquet. Is that how did I say it right? Or see, the problem is I see that and I want to put on the French accent because I speak French, so that's where my brain goes. So Bouquet, and I know that that is totally not right. Yes, Eccentric Banana. Why does Batman look like Bane? That is the question. So let's get into what we are looking at in terms of the first 3 books for this absolute launch. So we have this Batman. First thing I think to take away is, like Banana said, he is fuck huge. Like, he is a truck of a man who, yeah, he's just giant. The thing I noticed is that his cape seems to have some level of batness to it. I don't know if that's organic or if that's supposed to be the they've explained this in a lot of Batman media. Like, when his cape extends, there's like rods that like lock in when it goes out and then they collapse. I can't tell if it's supposed to be something like that, or if this is going to be more actual monstery where he those things can move, sort of like Spider-Man's extra arms and the Iron Spider armor. Overall, not really a big fan of the design. I like the piece. There's something about the piece and the composition and the coloring that I can get behind. There's something striking about it, but the overall concept, this feels like a really bad generic Batman drawn by, this feels like you went to somebody who doesn't draw superhero comics, but is an artist and said, draw Batman. Right? And they went, shit, what does he have? He has a bat on his chest. I know he's big. I'll go creative and I'll give him actual bat wings. So, Batman looks like the muscle guy from the Dumbbells anime. Yes, that's a great comparison. Bo-Cat. Okay, so I was closer the first time, but not accurate. Bo-Cat. Exactly, eccentric banana. That's Whack-Man, what we're looking at. So, I'm not gonna lie. I'm intrigued by what those organic bits are, but I don't, like, to me, it's not a selling point. It's sort of just like a curiosity. Like, ooh, what's that? Oh, that's neat. Sort of like if you go to a comic book convention and you might pass by somebody's booth and see they have a big display of their comic art, and you go, oh, that's neat. All right. Like, that's sort of the same feeling I have towards this. Yeah, that's not a bat on his chest. It's like weird steel plating. I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to this design that really, that's why to me it doesn't feel like it's an actual bat suit. It feels like somebody, you just said, hey, like an Italian horror painter, like somebody who does movie posters for Italian horror movies. You said, hey, draw the Batman, and they went, okay, hold on, is that him? And you went, close enough. I mean, you don't know him offhand, but that's pretty good, right? I'm guessing you got like Timon and Banana. I'm guessing that's probably going to turn out to be some sort of like, this is armor plating, like it's reinforced. I don't know. That's the only reason I can think of having it so like big and wide over his chest. No clue. But let's see. So the Absolute Batman will be written by Scott Snyder, who you guys might remember from his long run on Batman. He was pretty good, honestly. He was how long was he on it? I think he was New 52, and then Tinian came on, but solidish enough Batman writer. He'll be handling the writing duties. The art will be Nick Dragotta, who is the same man who designed the cover right here. I can also vouch that he is pretty good in just his regular old line work, so definitely, the talent here is not the issue. The issue is sort of just the overall general premise, right? And so yeah, we get this. This Batman doesn't have money. He's not the rich man. He doesn't have Alfred. He doesn't have the Wayne fortune. He's sort of just on his own. And then, and unfortunately, we don't have a lot to talk about when it comes to the exact handling of these characters, because as you see here, like, this is the description for Absolute Batman. That's the extent that everybody gets. Nobody really gets past, quick 3 sentences, and then this is not the Man of Steel you knew before. But yeah, so we're probably looking at a more street level, way more, you know what? I would say we're probably looking at Moon Knight Batman. As funny as that comparison is, considering that Moon Knight is a Batman parody, essentially, I feel like that's what we're going to be getting. He looks like a big-ass Thanksgiving Day float. No, dude, he looks like the balloons. Because, like, the balloons are always, I always think they're, like, weirdly proportioned. That's what he feels like to me. So that's our Batman, possibly an organic type of Batman. No idea yet. Could be, again, might be cool. Of maybe like the 3 books, this is the one that intrigues me the most. But again, not enough to go, I'm super excited for this. Like, I was excited for Ultimate, like the Ultimate reboot that I rave about every week with Ultimate Spider-Man and X-Men and Black Panther. This, I am just, no, like, I cannot. Oh, you did mean the balloons eccentric. Okay. Then we are on the same page. Yeah. Yeah, make him blue and he could be the Tick. That's how just brick house he is. I'm right there with you, Shinkai. So that's what we're getting out of Absolute Batman. Here is our Absolute Superman, where without the fortress, without the family, without a home, what's left is the absolute Man of Steel. So this one is we're literally just going to be descending in order of like interesting to not interesting whatsoever. So here is our absolute Superman. Like the description said, this is a Superman who doesn't have the fortress. He doesn't have his like family, no ma pa, no Supergirl, Crypto, Connor, John, Lois Lane, any of that stuff. And what was the other thing? Yeah. So what we're looking at here is probably a latecomer Superman to the superhero world. I genuinely feel like we're getting a very Man of Steel vibe out of here, and that goes back to what you guys were saying about it's emo Superman. This Superman is definitely, he feels dark, he feels despondent. I know they say that it's about embodying all the heroism that we see from them, but I am curious to see. Here's the problem with this. As a sort of base concept, I don't think, like you guys know, I'm open to seeing if you can impress me with it. Show me what you could do. The problem is, one, I'm very, very tired, as I think most of us are, of evil, broken Superman type characters, right? Homelander, Superman, just all of these characters. We see it all the time. It's too much of a trope. So like, that's a concern to me. And my second concern is that, okay, I can see this concept working if Superman lands on Earth as like an older adult and he's a little more despondent, but he's still like, I know this is rough and I know this is hard, but I still have to do something. The problem is this is coming from Jason Aaron, who, if you guys don't know, I've talked about him before. He was a very prolific writer over at Marvel. He was responsible for for Volume 8 of the Avengers, the most recent one. So the one where Jen became a Hulk, where they have that awful Phoenix fighting storyline where the Phoenix says, I'm going to pick a new host, and it ends up being Echo because Echo beats Namor in a fight for it. And I mean, don't even get me started on his Wolverine runs, his Ghost Rider runs. Jason Aaron is like, so you guys have heard me say this before, but like Jed MacKay, the current writer on Avengers, the current Blood Hunt writer, he is the world's most serviceable writer. You give him a story and he'll give it to you and it'll be fine. You won't be mad, but it won't really do anything new for you. It'll be like, oh, that was cool. All right, next thing. Jason Aaron is the world's most edgy. I want to edgy, subversive is the word that comes to mind, but I wouldn't say subversive because it's not even, it comes from way more of a spot of ignorance almost, where he goes, I think this idea is going to be awesome. Let's do this. And it's the most batshit dumb idea of all time. And somebody says, go for it. He's essentially, Jason Aaron is the Zack Snyder of comic book writers. Like, it is just, it's so, that is the comparison there. So I don't have any faith that this book is going to treat the Superman mythos with any level of genuine respect or get the character. I don't get that from Jason Aaron. If you'd have put somebody like Peter Tomasi on this, if you'd have put Mark Waid, again, Mark Waid, certified actual lunatic, like put that man should probably be in an insane asylum, but the man knows how to write superheroes and he could kill it. And I would trust him with Superman. I don't trust Jason Aaron with Blade, right? Like the most generic, easy, you can go hog wild and be edgy all you want. I don't trust him with that. So it's bad. Like I'm not optimistic for this take on Superman. Yeah, Shinkai, Superman going through his alcoholic phase or maybe Constantine phase. I will admit, and you guys know me, I have this penchant for trying to at least, find one or two cool things in whatever we're talking about. But this glowing fire fist thing he's got going on, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of a fan of it. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I think visually it's really neat. You guys know me, I like glowing, I like colors. So if they use it as sort of like a, when he like fights, the heat sort of like ripples up his arm with like each punch as it builds up, that could be something that's really cool. I don't know how it'll be. I really like that visual. The visual element right there is cool. The whole suit as a whole, pardon me, not a fan of. You guys know I see the MCU lines are there all over the place. I don't like, a lot of superheroes are doing this weird like dip V cut underwear line thing lately, and I've never been a fan of that. So yeah, really like that Fire Fist thing. aside from the fact that the overall design is kind of stupid, I think, again, this is a really good piece. None of the artists are bad. Rafael Sandoval, right? That's who it is? Yeah, Rafa Sandoval. He is fantastic at art. So this is a very good piece. I love the way the cape is sort of fluttered. It's just really, really pretty. If it was a better design, I would definitely be putting this as like my wallpaper on my phone or something. So Shinkai says, wonder if bringing back his solar burst, still thinks suit missing something around his waist. That was so to your first part, Shinkai, that was my first idea was, oh, they're bringing back his like solar flare ability and he's probably going to like shoot it like that, right? Like pew, pew, pew. I'm very concerned if that's going to happen because I don't like that for Superman. I would much rather it be the visual thing of like building up his power and his fury. As to your second part, yes, you got to have something to break it up. Otherwise, you just have this really long black bodysuit, and maybe the boots are a different color down there at the bottom. But I'm always a fan of the trunks for the Superman suit. So again, you got something here, but you got to take it back to the drawing board. I don't think we're completely there yet. Yeah, absolute super douche. I mean, I don't even know if he's gonna be a douche. He just looks more emo, right? We got super douche would be, honestly, super douche is just Homelander. That's trunks out. Like you don't want the trunks to moan, or you think they should be on and should be like worn on the outside. So that is absolute Superman, and then this is the one where I have a lot of feelings about. So. This is our absolute Wonder Woman, drawn by Hayden Sherman. Not really familiar with that artist's work. Don't even know if it's a boy or a girl. So, don't really know Hayden's work. Going to be written by Kelly Thompson, who is serviceable. That's probably another Jed McKay level. That's right, Timon. Trunks on the outside. That's what we stand for here. Kelly Thompson is a fine writer. The chops are there. But yeah, that's sort of the big takeaway here, right? Film Watcher is, wait, Wonder Woman with tattoos? So like with the other two, apparently this Wonder Woman doesn't have Themyscira. She doesn't come from she doesn't have her mission of peace. She is clearly more on the war waging side. Yes, I know serviceable is being generous with Thompson. I absolutely know that, but the reason I said serviceable is because I haven't read a Thompson book for a good reason in a while. Maybe got better, but I'm not ready to stake my reputation on that potential. But yeah, so this is of all the designs, this is the one that I think kind of misses the mark. This is the one that to me goes, oh, you are going 405 edgy. Like this is the one that does it for me, and it's specifically because of that tattooed arm sort of thing. I've never, and I could be wrong because I'm not a cultural anthropologist, but I don't associate that sort of tribal tattooing with Greeks or Romans of any real sort, right? Like to me, that's more Polynesian, that's more island culture than that. So to me, it just, this more than any of the others feels like you're trying way too hard to go, look, she's so grimdark, she's so edgy. And to me, none of this does anything for me. I will admit, I do kind of like the idea of the flying death horse of Apocalypse being her steed rather than just like a regular horse. But that's just one part of the concept. The rest of it, I kind of just, this does nothing to excite me. It does nothing to, this feels like she's going to be a mix between Injustice Wonder Woman and Flashpoint Wonder Woman, right? The very war gung-ho, let's fight, we're gonna kill, that's how you bring justice back to everything. And it's just, again, it's just not very I know the whole point is to sort of flip Wonder Woman on her head, but the plot might end up being something interesting, but at least with this design, this is sort of a giant miss. Can we let's see if I can pull up because you get a better look at her there. Let me try and flip it real quick. Let me do this so we can look at her their designs without having to crane our necks, if you will. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Open. Okay, there we go. So yeah, now I flipped it. We can go look down here. Like, yeah, they just feel super hyper generic. She feels 3Edgy. I just noticed they gave her the Buster sword. She's literally holding Cloud's Buster sword. That's interesting. Check that out. I don't really have any commentary on it, but check that out. And yeah, and then like her costume isn't really anything different. So yeah. Oh, Timon, you caught it at like the exact same time I did. Yeah, Buster sword. That's really didn't really pick up on that one. Yeah, exactly. Batman is a wall. The dude is look at his bicep. His bicep is the size of Wonder Woman's torso, and Wonder Woman is not a petite woman. Yes, it's Rob Liefeld 90s Captain America giant chest out vibes. It 100% is Film Watcher. But yeah, like Timon says, it's Nordic. Tattoos are more Nordic, but they're not very Greek. So all in all, this new initiative, good luck, I guess. It just I feel like the sort of running theme is that we don't want these sort of stories. All of the stuff we're getting is sort of 5 years too late to what everybody, like the trends, right? Everybody's sort of over the broken, beaten down, edgy takes on our superheroes. We've been getting that for too long, and especially with like the Snyderverse and like all the commentary on Secret Empire and all that stuff. I know for a fact we want our heroes to be heroes again. We want them to be heroic. And I'm not saying they won't be heroic, but I don't know. I just feel like this maybe had a place 4 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, but coming in hot in 2024 with ooh, look at how broken and beaten everybody is. It just doesn't feel like it's going to hit. Do you guys remember? This is sort of the almost the same premise that, although, okay, let me restart. Back when the New 52 hit, they did an Earth 2 book that was supposed to sort of show how Earth 2 was in the new continuity. And as part of that book, the big difference between Earth 2 and our world was that Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman fell during the invasion of Darkseid. And the twist in Earth 2 was that those heroes eventually were revealed to be alive and under Darkseid's sway and villains and yada, 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 yada. I don't think we're gonna go full like, oh, actually this Batman, this Trinity are these ones are evil, they're bad guys. I don't think we're gonna get that far over the line here, but I definitely think it's just if you guys remember in Earth 2, one of the big premises was that like the entire world was broken, it was busted, it sucked. And maybe this is me coming from a personal bent, but at least right now I'm sort of sick of, like, I know the world sucks. Like, we live in a time of strife, of political discord. It kind of sucks to be a real life human being. I don't need reminders that everything is genuinely terrible. I could use a break for a while of heroes being genuine heroes. That's why I keep excuse me, I needed water. I realized I was going way too long without a drink. But that's why I sort of keep recommending Mark Waid's World's Finest book, because you get your heroes acting like genuine superheroes. Like Batman cares, Superman cares, even though they're still the Dark Knight. Like, yeah, so at least maybe that's a personal bent. I kind of want worlds that are a little more aspirational to go to, rather than these stories of underdogs in worlds that are so against them, right? One of the things I always sort of, and I'm getting like meta contextual here for a second, but one of the observations I always see floated around about Star Trek, the Next Generation, yada, 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 is that back then we were, like, when Star Trek was on, we were being presented with an aspirational vision of what society is. Was it like fantasy? Yeah, of course, to a little bit, you know, like, oh, we got rid of human scarcity. Nobody cares about race anymore. Like, it's out, like, it's over the top, but it's aspirational. It's things that we go, we should strive to that. Maybe someday we could get a society like that. Nowadays, we get too much media where it goes, everything is bad. everything is bad and you have to fight against everything out there that is completely awful. And there is no hope for you. You're always going to be downtrodden. And like sort of who's doing it right is Jonathan Hickman over at the Ultimate line, where all the Ultimates and Spider-Man and even Black Panther and Armor, they're on the back foot. They are like, the world's against them. They had their entire lives stolen from them because of the Maker. But they're still fighting. They're still out there going, we can make a better world. We can change things. Like in the last issue, Captain America and the Ultimates literally took down he's not even the president of the United States. He's basically the CEO of the United States. For more on that, go check out Ultimates. It is a very, very good book. But at least there, it's the... I made this joke to somebody in our Discord the other day. Like, what did I say? Oh yeah, that I was talking to Andrew about the boys, and my joke was, broke. Life is difficult, and even our heroes aren't infallible in the face of real world morality. Woke, the indomitable will of human spirit, and that's like. That is what I feel right now. We've had enough real takes right now where, who said it? I think Andrew was the one who said it a little bit earlier. But we've had so many of these takes that it's just become generic, tired, and boring. Evil Superman's not a great trope anymore. To the point where, like, this is how little... Like, I need people to understand how dumb or like how tired and sort of all explored the evil Superman trope is. A lot of people love to go, oh, Superman, like, what is it? James Gunn's Superman, or the Superman in the comics. He's a big Boy Scout. He's a giant baby. He's so boring. He's so like lame. Who cares about all of that justice stuff? And then they go, Injustice Superman is cool. Snyderverse Superman is cool. They know how to like take care of business. They know what it's like to be in the real world. And I laugh every time because if they clearly didn't play Injustice, they may have read the comics, but they didn't play it, and the comics don't get to this point. Or no, I think they do, but it's like way later on. They bring in Batman. Literally goes to like Earth Zero to get good Superman to come back and beat the shit out of evil Injustice Superman. And they have an entire discourse about like, this is like, I brought peace and order to the world. And our Superman goes like, yeah, that's not how you do it. Like you are an absolute like, it's been done to the point where DC themselves have said, yes, Big Blue is the reason. Like that's the character. So it's just, it's all try hard edgy, I guess. Yeah, I'm not entirely stoked for this. I will, unfortunately, like, I will read these issues, probably get my Pakistani friend to hook me up with them. The thing that's really hard for me, guys, I don't know if you caught this while we were looking through the solicits, but every single one of these Absolute Power or Absolute Universe books is coming with a foil cover by Daniel Sampier. And if you guys don't know who Daniel Sampier is, he is the current artist on Wonder Woman. I know the Tom King Wonder Woman book is fucking garbage. I will use that strong, hard G right there. Like, it is bad. But Daniel Sampier's art is really good to it. It's one of the biggest crimes of sort of modern comic book writing, or especially modern DC, is that really good artists are being paired up with really, really shitty writers. Like Miss Gerards and Tom King. Tom King and Sampier. Damn it, who was the other one I was thinking of earlier today? Oh, Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo on Nightwing. Like it's a tragedy, and it's too bad. So yeah, Volume Dealer says, I don't need Clark to be a Boy Scout, but not dark either. I think the way to me, like, here's the thing. To me, I always think, I'm going to say, or how do I put this? Personally, I would lean more towards the Boy Scout interpretation, but not to the point where he's, super good, extra nice, goody two shoes all the time, but in the sense that he's always trying to set the example. He's always trying to err on the side of being nice, of being kind, of being, a hero. He doesn't, he might not always have that option. There are times he might have to cut loose. There are times he might have to send Zod into the Phantom Zone. But he doesn't do that willy-nilly. He does it, and it haunts him. It hangs on him. Or sort of like the Superman in Justice League is probably the best one, right? You have him, he's nice all the time. He's the Paragon, but when he goes up against the dark side, he wallops him. He's ready to just unload just pure justice and righteous fury. So that's, yeah, if Clark isn't a Boy Scout, he's not Clark. That's that's where I go, Andrew. I really like the interpretation of Clark being the more wholesome is probably the right word, right? I like when Clark is wholesome. There's that Justice League episode where he reveals that even though he's like 30 or whatever, he still believes in or Santa, like genuinely. Or the scene I always bring up in Superman and Lois where the kid asks him about his costume and he goes, "Oh, thanks, my mom made it," right? Like that, like he should always be American as apple pie. To me, Superman is a Norman Rockwell painting, or at least he's the closest thing we can get to a Norman Rockwell painting. He still deals with everything that's awful in our real world, but he tries, or not tries, he does embody that Norman Rockwell aspect without even trying. Clark needs to be genuinely wholesome, and that's what makes Bruce such a good counter, is that Bruce is inherently cynical, so they can like balance off of each other, play off of each other. So yeah, if you don't like Clark as the wholesome Boy Scout, then you want a different character, and I suggest you find it. And that's the problem with a lot of people who have written Superman in recent years. So there was a clip the other week. You know what? It's on the internet. I am not monetized yet, but let's just, I bet I can find it. Superman. And I say that because it is a leaked clip, and I'm trying to find it. It's probably on Twitter, so let's see. Because where is it? There it is. So, in case you guys didn't see this clip, it's not behind the scenes, but it's Superman, James Gunn's Superman movie being filmed. It is Superman and everybody descending to the Hall of Justice. You can see there's Mr. Terrific and Guy Gardner and Hawk Girl in front of him, leading him towards the hall. And when Superman lands, a bunch of kids run out to greet him because they think he's like the coolest. He's just the bee's knees. There's also another shot that's floating around the internet right now of Clark like looking up in his Superman suit. He's looking up into a tree, and people are going, "Oh, he's probably going to save a cat." Every one of these posts is flooded by people going, "Oh, that's so lame. What a loser. He doesn't have time for that. He should be pounding everybody to a pulp. He should be like the god." And I'm like, I always raise that with you, Andrew. I go, you don't want Superman then. You want Zod. You want Hyperion over at Marvel. You want Miracle Man. You want the Plutonian. There are 5 billion other different characters you can get there. You don't need to put that on him. And right, like exactly, Volume Dealer. Clark is from Kansas, probably brought up Christian. The dark persona doesn't really make sense anyway. It really doesn't, because again, he should be, for all of the dumb things that Zack Snyder did, even though it is still super dumb, I think one of the nicer aspects was turning that symbol on his chest from just an S into hope. Like, in the Kryptonian language, really stupid, but I like the sentiment of that, because to me, yeah, Big Blue should be the paragon of hope, of you see him, you know things are at least are okay. You don't need to worry the second you see Big Blue show up. That should be the reaction. As soon as you see him, it should be like, I am safe, I am okay. Sort of, I always see it that you're panicking, right? Oh shit, here comes Parasite, he's destroying the city. Oh no, here comes Toymaker, he's rampaging through the financial district. You're panicking. If you're an average citizen, everything's falling down around you, explosions are going off, cars are blowing up, things are crumbling, debris is being strewn. You would be panicking. All of us would be panicking. Even the best trained of us would still be like, oh shit, like I know where to go, but this is insane. To me, what Superman should do is give you that same feeling of, he shows up and you get that feeling of like when you're a kid and you're having a nightmare or something and your dad shows up. Like, that's what it should be, where you get that instant calm of like, everything might still be really terrible right now, but I at least know I'm safe in this moment. Like, that to me is what Clark should always be embodying. Clark is who he is because of Jonathan and Martha, and that's such a tentpole piece of his character. If you throw out one of the key tentpoles of a character, you lose the character. If he was anything other than what he is, then he'd give credence to being a danger. And that's an important part too, right? That is what, again, it's about aspiration. It's about showing that you can have genuinely good people who have all of this power and still know how to do the right thing with it. People aren't bad. You can be good. You aren't always a threat. And yeah, like, I definitely think having anytime you have a Superman who goes berserk for, I find it really hard to believe any story where Superman goes like actually evil if there's no brainwashing in play, like no dark side or whatever. So just at the top, it's really hard for me to get behind any sort of evil Superman story. But to me, if you're gonna do an evil Superman story, it has to have the catalyst of, like, he can't just break. He can't just, like, one day, like, oh, I'm gonna put down Luthor. Like, okay, I'm gonna kill you. Like, that's not him. He would never do that. He would never decide. He's not Batman, right? Batman is the one who walks that line every day, and you could see him maybe one day accidentally going over or intentionally going over. With Superman, it has to be that very, it either has to be like misguided, which we don't really see because you can't really get a misguided dictator, or it's something extremely traumatic and it's sort of a snap reaction. And to that point, to me, the only real good reason for Superman breaking bad was Injustice, where he gets his mind clouded. He thinks he's killing, or he thinks he's stopping a bomb from going off, but in reality, he accidentally picked up Lois, took her to the atmosphere, and suffocated her. So then he goes back to the Joker, just belligerent with rage at the loss of Lois and his child, who she was pregnant with, and just skewers him through. Right? Like, to me, it's still weak to have him break bad, but at least it's more understandable with the values and the person he has been established to be in these comic books. That's a good point. Yeah. Otherwise, he's just Teth Adam. That's a really good point. Speaking of Snyder Bros, don't get anybody in here. We know the cameo didn't pay off for everything. Snyder Bros, we feel that too. Don't worry. That's our one place of common ground. Shinkai says Jonathan Joestar and Superman might be overly stoic, but you know where they stand. See, I don't even think Jonathan Joestar. I definitely agree with it right there. Superman, to me, he's not stoic. To me, he should definitely be. When you guys think of the pop culture version of, like, and I know he's not there, but like Southern hospitality, right? To me, Superman should always be like, he's ready to flash you a smile going, hey, like, how's it going, y'all? Like, a little bit of a bumpkin, but not like an idiot. Just a very good natured, very good hearted person who will smile and he'll talk to you, and he won't lose his mind, but he will be firm. He'll smile, he'll laugh, he'll talk with you. Stoic. See, for me, stoic is that's Batman. That's Batman to a T. I think if you're going to do I think the most evil you can go with Superman and make it so believable is stoic, and having him be like quiet and sort of upset about things that are going on. But I can't get behind grim, edgy, dark Clark being Superman evil, or like evil Superman. Obviously, like, Homelander was a good take. Hyperion over at Marvel is a fun take. You can do it. You just can't use Superman as the vehicle for that specific story. Superman breaking bad, Jimmy, we need to cook. I can't. Superman could do it so easily because he could just like heat vision all of the chemicals, right? And then you wouldn't need all of that cook time. Timon says, so they copied Hercules' story for Injustice. Yeah, they did. But again, I know I'm running a little bit of a defense, but to me, it's like, what else could they have really done to sell this? Right? Like, you couldn't just have, oh, Lex Luthor did something evil, I'm going to laser through his eyes. Or, I think the Justice League are corrupt and I'm going to take him down. You couldn't have that, like, flip. You had to have something. And one of the things, like, this just reminds me of a quote I was taught way back in my college days from my literature professors, which is there exist only 7 stories in the world, and they've all been told before. So don't worry about copying. And it's pretty true, right? It's about, tell your story. You can use other things, but how is it used? Is it executed well? Does it make sense? Is it compelling? Or are you just throwing it in there because that's what happens in a movie, Zack Snyder style? Andrew says, so many people just do not understand Superman and clearly haven't read his books beyond his involvement in Injustice, I swear. Well, that's because, I don't know if you guys remember this, and we're slowly seeing a shift in the mentality, but it's not strong yet. But for a long time, especially in the mid-2000s, around the era of Infinite Crisis, there was a lot of the popular sentiment was Superman's lame. He's boring. What does he do? Oh, he has all this power. He doesn't ever kill people. It was very much, I talk about this a lot. The cynicism of the 90s bled out into our pop culture in the 2000s. And that's when we started getting a lot of those more grounded takes on things that, like the Ultimate line. And when you get the more grounded takes on things, that's when people start looking at it more grounded. People started... The mid-2000s was a big time of what if superhero but real world. And because what did you have? You had the 60s were the extravagant world of superheroes being kooky. The 70s were superheroes being and supervillains fighting on our streets. 80s was, it's getting a little more, we're bringing more, it's less fantastical and a little more real. We're talking about contemporary issues and making our cities and our characters line up with modern stuff, but it's still a little fantastical. Then you had the 90s, which was, superheroes should be super over the edge and bloody and grimdark. And then you have the mid 2000s, which was like, but what if superhero but real? That's where you saw, the 2000s X-Men movie was a big part of that because they didn't give them their comic book costumes. When they put them in that leather, that sort of unconsciously signaled, yeah, that's lame. That's not what real superheroes would be like. We got to show you something more realistic. And that's where sort of everybody devolved down that train of thought. And unfortunately, it stuck. It got in a lot of people's minds. I mean, I heard that rhetoric a lot growing up, but because I'm a Superman fan and I understand what, I have media literacy, those never stuck for me because I knew that's not even true. Watch a Superman show. You could watch the worst episode of the worst Superman show and still walk away with the understanding of that's not Superman. Just like you could watch or read the worst Batman media and still walk away with, he doesn't just sit there beating up mentally ill poor people. He's fighting actual criminals. So that mentality festered so much that a lot of people, once we got to the 2010s, right? Once our generation of people, Andrew, and viewers, once we started getting into that area of being in charge of the media, that's when all of the people who huff their own farts went, well, why don't we see, why does Superman have to be like that? Why can't we subvert it? That's when we went. We went from what if superhero but real to subvert the superhero idea. And we're slowly, I think, out of that subvert era, and we're getting into the era of superheroes are actually cool again. I think we're very, 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 very early on in that mentality, but we're seeing it in books like Ultimate Spider-Man, right? Where they're being unabashedly about superheroes in a real world, and they're not winking at the audience and going, haha, this is kind of lame, right? Don't worry. We're going to break him in a second. Don't worry. This isn't as straightforward and earnest as you think it is. We would never do that. That's so lame, right, guys? We're moving out of that, but we're still dealing with the after effects of that. So admittedly, when you're presented with the idea of this is Superman all the time, and then you get what if evil Superman, it can, when it's fresh, there's a lot of cool different stuff you could do with it. You could do what if just 1-to-1 evil Superman. Well, there you get your Ultraman. You could go what if evil Superman, but in our actual real world. Well, then you get Homelander. What if Superman, but if in the Marvel universe, then you get Hyperion. Or what if Superman but evil in the Marvel universe? You get Hyperion. The problem was, again, a lot of the people who are currently I know the kind of people who are currently in charge of our entertainment, right? Because I unfortunately, as you guys know, I am an artist. I got a liberal arts degree in college, so I had a lot of, writing classes, a lot of literature classes. And the people who are in charge of our media now are the ones who genuinely thought that when they sat down in class, whatever they wrote, they were going to be the next Tarantino. They were going to be the next, like, auteur creator who, whatever field they worked in, they would be absolutely praised as this visionary, shifting paradigms and showing the world how this medium can be used in ways it couldn't before. And they could not accept, they would not look at anything that was beneath them. Ew, you like comic books? That's a loser's medium. Ew, video game writing? That's a loser's medium. Truly, film and books are like the only real place for talent such as myself. Unfortunately, as we all know, 99% of the time, those people are full of shit and they do not live up to their own hype. So once they get out into the real world and they go, all right, I'm going straight to the top. I'm going to, MGM. I'm going to Sony, and they're going to give me a job, and I'm going to be able to, make Captain Magoo's, Sextopolis adventure, whatever the fuck they're making. They get in the real world and they realize, oh, A, I'm not that good, and B, I don't know the right people. So they get this mentality of, resentment starts building. And it's that supervillain resentment we see in a lot of media, like I'm so much better. Why am I being forced to do this? I should, they should be worshiping me. I should be on top. I should be making movies. So eventually they realize, like, okay, if they decide that they actually want to still pursue that, and instead of, running off and crying into mommy and daddy's trust fund, if they decide they still want to do that, they will go, okay, how do I get in? Where can I make my talents? Where can I make my imprint to sort of use it as a stepping stone to other mediums? And that's where we get comic book writers, where we get video game writers, where we get TV show writers. Oftentimes, just read any interview with 90% of these people, and they go, yeah, we wanted to change this. This was different. This was so, this might have worked in one medium, but it's not here. This is the story we want to tell. It's all about them, not the thing that they're working on. And in that, and as a side effect of that, all of these morons who don't engage with the stuff are in charge of everything. So now when they're in the writer's room over at DC, they go, you guys ever think about an evil Superman? And everybody, because most of the people didn't earnestly engage with this medium growing up, they go, that's so different. Nobody, like, this is a good time. Can we make it a commentary on something? And it just, it's all awful. Like, like I said, evil Superman needs to go away. They need to bury that trope for a while. It is absolutely just beyond boring. Push more fun Superman. We are in such desperate need for heroes in this modern day and age. And you know what? I'm going to say this to you, Hollywood. It's okay for our heroes and our media to be unrealistic. It's okay for, Superman to be way too good, way more good than a real person would be. These sorts of things should be aspirational. We should be looking at these not as something to emulate, but, not like, oh, I need to be exactly like Superman, but, give us bright points to look to. Give us those things as reference spots to go, what would Superman do? I feel good having Superman behind me, knowing that there's this, yeah, exactly. As Andrew's saying, like, in an increasingly dark real world, we need our media to bring some light. And that's where I think we are, like, that's where culture has shifted, where, yeah, everything outside of our doorstep is really shitty right now. Especially if you're an American, this is a really tough time of turmoil. And I'm not saying, people are getting beat in the streets or anything, but it's tense right now. It is very, very tense right now. There's a lot of uncertainty regarding our future, particularly with our election coming up in just a couple months. So yeah, like, I at least personally am not at the point where, or like, I'm past the point where I want to crack open my escapism and see stuff that is sad and real world commentary and unnecessarily dark and edgy, because I give us a spot of hope. We really need, I think that is the stamp on this is that right now the world needs hope, and we're not getting it from anywhere. And if we can't get it from our superheroes, where are we supposed to get it from? Right? Or our superheroes, our other entertainment heroes, our fictional characters. If we're not supposed to, aspire to be them or follow them, what do we have? Otherwise, if we don't have Superman being good and showing what a good world can look like, all we have in front of us is this world sucks, and it's just browbeating. It's just going to beat you down, beat you down, beat you down, beat you down until, I don't know, until you go and you decide you want to hire Zeb Wells to write your Amazing Spider-Man run for the rest of your life, right? So yeah, bottom line, I'm done with evil Superman. Let's get more good Superman. Absolute DC is looking like it's going to be something. I don't know. I can't necessarily say if it's going to be completely good or completely bad. I really like Superman's glowy firearm thing. Aside from that, and I also am intrigued by Batman's claw cape crap things, whatever you want to call those. Intrigued. Everything else, I am very, very just Hopefully we'll learn. I mean, obviously we will learn more details as more and more, or as the release gets closer and they release more solicits for more future issues and all that sort of fun stuff. So we'll definitely I will definitely be keeping an eye on it. I'll let you guys know if there's anything great, anything bad. But yeah, that's what's coming up from DC in the next few years. So let's see, where are we at? Wow, we actually had a relatively structured show tonight. We had hellos, then we talked about Concord, then we talked about DC, and now we're 10 minutes out from closing out the show. So with that 10 minutes out from closing the show, I think I'm going to touch on this topic because it is one I think is relevant to what we're all to all these conversations, to everything we've been talking about today. And yeah, why not just comment on it, because I know it's just something we've all, at least me and Andrew and his Discord, have been talking about. Oh, by the way, while I'm looking for the thing I'm trying to show off, Mon-El is coming back to the comic books. I don't know how they're going to use him, but I am a personal big fan of Mon-El as a character. So very, very excited to see him. Man, I am not finding the thing. Oh, I can at least comment on this because this makes me pretty pissed off. I don't remember if I talked to you guys about this or if I talked to Marvin the Movie Monster about this, but right now they are doing an event in Marvel where the Infinity Stones have embodied real people. And right now that's the annual story they're doing this year. They're introducing the Infinity Stone bearers back into continuity and showing off their powers. Here's Wolverine's annual, and you can clearly see that bastard Chasm is at the top. And I'm just I know he exists. I've accepted he exists at this point, but at this fucking, it sucks to see him. Let him go. I want him gone. I know we're getting an event with him later this year, the Chasm Curse of Cain story between him and Cain. Hopefully that ends with the retcon, but at this point, this pains me to see Chasm just literally pop up anywhere. Dang. Oh, okay. No, I finally have found what I was looking for. So in case you guys did not catch it, we did get this week the last entry in DC's Tomorrowverse. The final part of the Crisis on Infinite Earths trilogy dropped this week. Obviously, we're at the end of the show, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. I've talked about these movies a little bit before on past streams. They, long story short, they're not that great. They're animated very, very poorly, and they just feel like a sad effort out of DC. And put a pin in that, because there's something I do want to note about that because I know a lot of us are very critical of this Tomorrowverse, but there's something I learned that I need to what's the right word? It's clarification, credit where credit is due, I suppose. But dang, I can't find it. So anyway, Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3 just came out. Quick review. this entire trilogy was really, really poorly executed. It was lazy. They didn't really honor the art styles of, they visited some other alternate universes, but they didn't really, they didn't really roll into the concept like they could have. You know what I mean? Like, to me, if you have this multiverse spanning story and you have different properties like the DCAU or Injustice or Green Lantern the animated series like we're looking at here, go there. Use those styles. Go to those settings and be like, remember this? Like, we have, that's one of the best things you can do in a non-live action visual medium, because you can play with art styles, you can play with designs. So for them to take everybody and sort of convert them into the very basic Tomorrowverse style was really lame. And a lot of the times when they went to all these other worlds, it was just like, oh, this is a cowboy world. So now here's Jonah Hex and, you know, the Two Gun Kid and Vigilante. And it's like, or not Two Gun Kid, because that's Marvel, but Vigilante. And it's like, okay, I like seeing them, but why, like, okay, you just put them there because it's a cowboy planet. And then you put all these heroes here because it's a future planet. Just sort of very, very lame there. Obviously, we've also talked about how the Anti-Monitor and the Harbinger, here, let's see. The Harbinger design and the Anti-Monitor designs in these movies were completely just like awful. I'm pulling it up right now. Like, we know Harbinger, you know, she's got the blue jumpsuit, the red helmet, very Jack Kirby-esque, flowing blonde curls. She's the herald of the Anti-Monitor. We know the Anti-Monitor, giant golden armor with big blue Legion of Doom style base head, scary, intimidating, Kirby crackle coming out of his mouth at like every opportunity. And instead, this is what we get in the Tomorrowverse. So here is our Monitor, or our Anti-Monitor, if you will. Generic, like, drone robot guy, like, just very, very stupid, not inspiring. And then they gave the same treatment to, where is she? They gave the same treatment to Harbinger, and they made her into weird generic, she kind of looks like Flame Lord from Marvel, honestly, or Wave Rider if we want to stick in DC. So it was a very, they kind of took away a lot of what made that original Crisis special. A lot of the Easter eggs didn't really land because they were so devoid of any real substance or purpose within the movie. They literally just were, remember this? And again, something has happened. I am not against multiverses, or I wasn't, right? And I'm not against, or what am I trying to say here? There is a trend that I've noticed with this movie where, yes, a lot of, like, DC in particular is really open to their multiverses, right? Like, they're acknowledging it in more media, in their video games, their movies, everything. They're putting it in, like, front and center in their marketing. And unfortunately, that only ever really amounts to, like, oh, here's your favorite universe. It's gone. It's destroyed. It's not here anymore. Bye. And they just keep doing that more and more and more and more and more and more. And I just, at this point, it feels like an abusive relationship. Like, they keep showing me, like, oh yeah, do you remember, like, for example, Green Lantern, the animated series? And I'm like, yeah, psych, it's gone. Oh wait, do you remember it? Psych, it's gone again. Oh, no, we'll put it in the comics. Psych, it's gone again. And it's just like, you make me not want to be here anymore, Tomorrowverse. You make me very sad to have said I do. But, so surprisingly, there are the two things I want to hit for this movie in particular is, one, the cameos in this episode were really fucking, like, they're bad. So I'm sure by now we've all seen the generic, or here, let's just bring up Kevin Conroy Crisis. Or actually, because I actually have the movie right here. Let me I can probably just pull this up, and because it's all sort of like a sequence, and we can talk about all the cameos in a row. And I don't care if we get bonked, because what $5 am I not earning from the stream anyway? So part 3. Can I find it? Can I find it? Do I find it? Ah, yeah. So, basically, movie's coming to an end. They decide they've got to basically collapse all of the Earths into each other. They're all going to be destroyed. And so we get this montage of all these various Earths. And here it starts off with this really stupid one from Batman the Animated Series where Bruce is just like standing on a roof. Like I get they're going for that visual reference, but he's just standing there. It makes no sense. And then this fight scene is just really poorly animated. Like, look at that Joker throw. No, there's no energy or anything here. So it just felt like I'm glad Conroy gets a good moment here. Also, listen to this.
Say, Batsy, I'm flattered. The end of the world, and you want to spend it with me? I didn't know you cared.
That's Hamill. I think he's getting a little old. That does not sound like a good Joker, and it makes me very, very sad that is the Joker we got. But yes, like Volume Dealer said, them destroying the animated series was lame. You're seeing it right here, and again, like, yeah, horrible.
I care, Joker.
You can tell they're trying to emulate that style of the DCAU, and it's lazier. It feels like a Flash cartoon. It's not great.
Batman.
But yeah, so you get that. So that world gets destroyed. We actually do get a cameo from the rest of the Justice League. Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl are there. Who's next? Oh, and then they talk. Oh, I thought they were all in a row. That's too bad. Well, we also get cameos from the Super Friends. They get destroyed. Titan's Tower from the 2003 cartoon, that gets destroyed. So all of your favorite animated stuff gets completely wiped out. And yeah, not a fan of it. Not a fan of how they set it up just to go like, hi, look, okay, bye. They're all dead now. Goodbye. Now, the other thing I wanted to say before we close out here is that surprisingly, there is some stuff I like in this movie, but it has more to do with their writing. So the two things I wanted to point out, and I can bring up, let's see, can I easily jump to the section of the film where they take care of this part?
Rappaccini's.
I remember.
You guys know what Baby Darkseid! So this was an interesting bit. So if you guys had if you had watched Darkseid War in that continuity, you guys know that it ends with Constantine telling Barry, like, run back to the past and change everything. And that movie ends, it whites out, and then we get the Tomorrowverse. That's all we saw. In this movie, we get a look into what Flash actually did when he traveled back in time, and apparently John sent him back in time to Darkseid's crib as a baby, essentially telling Barry, without explicitly telling him, take him out. This is the only way to stop the Darkseid War, the invasion. This is the only way to save us. Of course, Barry is Barry, and he doesn't do it. But Constantine knew that was going to happen, so he infected him with like a magical poison that just by being in the room, now Darkseid's dead. And I thought, oof, that's a pretty... It's a trope. We've seen it before. It's actually based on a very old horror story called Rappaccini's Daughter. It's not new, but I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was a good use of that technique to sort of show how the world reset. Then I also, at the very end of this movie, keep going. So here, we can just play the visuals. We don't really need to talk. But at the end of so let me just go back a little bit more. So at the end here, essentially how this movie ends is it does follow almost to a T the end of the original Crisis, where instead of a multiverse, everything is collapsed into one prime Earth. And so you get this scene where the prime Earth reveals itself. Whoops, I hit the buttons a couple times. But so their new Earth reveals itself, and everybody is standing here, and the Spectre tells them, if you go through this portal, if you go into this Earth, you won't remember who you are, but your essence will be fused in with all of your other parts, or like all your other versions, into a prime Superman, a prime Batman, a prime Batgirl, Lois Lane, Huntress, Green Lantern, whatever. And so everybody is like, sort of, what do we do? Do we do this? We're going to forget everything. And the Spectre leaves it up to them to voluntarily leave this destroyed, dying universe and jump into the new one, right? And so a lot of the characters obviously step forward, go on to their new lives. Superman does it, Katana, everybody. But one thing I really did like was the only person to reject this is Question. The Question goes up. He's about to go through the portal, and he basically tells the Spectre, like, why would I do, like, so this is a new Earth, but it's fake. Like, none of this ever happened. This is a completely fake reality. And so he goes, I'm going to stay here. And he, like, turns around and, face forward onto hell, into death. And I think that is such a good representation of the Question's character that, again, like, it's a small thing, but it was something I really, really like. I went, that was really cool. I can give you guys props for that here. And since it's taken a little bit, I might as well, there he is. We'll just watch the Question part, right? Yeah, Shinkai does Deadpool and Kid Apocalypse.
Nevertheless, all you need do is step through there, and you will be part of a new universe.
A false universe, a false history. I reject it on principle.
Like, that's so cool. I don't know, just like, I love those moments where a character can so confidently and stalwartly, like, on principle, on their mission, like, accept that they, like, that was a Rorschach mission, like, moment. Exactly, Volume Dealer. That's something the Question and Rorschach would do. And as we all know, that the Question was inspired by Rorschach, or rather, Rorschach was inspired by the Question because Alan Moore wanted to use the Charlton characters in Watchmen. DC said no, so he said, screw it, I'm going to make my own versions. And yeah, it is something the Question would do 100%. It's just a really cool end, especially in the face of everybody else going, and it's only him and the Spectre who stay behind. Spectre doesn't count because he's like the wrath of God, so he can just go. Yeah, exactly. Spectre is the hand of God. He can go to this new universe and do whatever he wants. But Question, that means no question. Like, he's just, that element, that part of him is completely gone. So all in all, like, I really liked that moment. I really liked, as you guys saw, let's go back to the web real quick, because I brought that shot up for a reason. I really, really liked, as somebody, wait, where is it? As somebody who, oh my God, I am like not hosting this very well. What am I doing? Whatever, wherever, we'll always be together. Okay. This, so the biggest, Constantine doesn't stay behind. Constantine goes as well. It's Spectre, Question, and technically Psycho Pirate, but Psycho Pirate had his brain, like, emotioned out, so he's just comatose. So he really didn't have, like, he didn't have, he couldn't do anything. He was just dead. So, all in all, not that great of a movie, not that great of a time. The Tomorrowverse, there was really nothing to it. I didn't really have that much of a fun time. Even the absolute garbage that was Darkseid War at least had something compelling, even if it was bad compelling, as opposed to the Tomorrowverse. The biggest compliments I will give this third part of the trilogy is that we got to, we saw that awesome Question scene, and I'm very happy to not only have seen Razor and Aya from the Green Lantern animated series, because I really, really like that series. If you guys haven't watched it, go watch it. I promise you, if you like Green Lantern, you will immediately love that series, like, to death. But at the end of that series, in case you guys haven't watched it, this guy over here, Razor, he starts out as a Red Lantern, and he sort of goes through this journey of letting his rage go. And at the very last shot of that series, a Blue Lantern ring, like, comes up to the screen and flies out to take to Razor. So when Razor and Aya appear here, it's clearly still in continuity, and Razor is now a full-on Blue Lantern. So I really liked that. I thought that was it's just nice to see these guys acknowledged again, to see him in continuity again, still, like, being true to their story, same voice actors and everything. It's definitely a member berry moment, but I'm not gonna lie, I love the member berry moment. Wasn't it Apocalypse War? No, it was Darkseid War. Wait, what? Maybe it was Apocalypse War. Let me look at my folder real quick, because now that I'm thinking about it, where is it? Oh yeah, it was. No, because what the hell am I talking about? What am I talking about? Oh, okay, that's what I was. I was mixing up Justice League War with Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, and it's like APOKOLIPS, like Dark Side Apocalypse. Yes, you got me, Volume Dealer. You are correct. I was wrong on that one, but even that one was more interesting than this. So that was sort of all I really wanted to say about this movie. I really only wanted to touch on it because I wanted to talk about Razor and Aya being back and also show you guys that awesome question scene. But with that, whoops, wrong button. We are at the 2.5 hour mark. That is where YouTube really likes me to end my streams if they want to promote it out to other people. So I will take their advice and we will start calling it a night. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me on another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. It is my honor, my pleasure, my genuine joy to hang out with you guys every Friday night to talk to you about all the things we do like, all the things we don't like, and kick your guys' weekend off on a high note, on a positive note, because like I said at the top of the show, all of us here, we spend all week having our favorite franchises, all the things we love, just run roughshod over. So it's nice to take a step back, appreciate what we love, and talk about things without just, losing our minds and screaming into the void. So I thank you guys for showing up and hanging out with me. Everybody from Andrew to Timon to Shinkai to Andrew to Volume Dealer to Zero to Banana was here to Linux was here. I know Linux has like a way longer name, but that's what I'm calling him. Film Watcher, you were the man for showing up. Reeve was here for a little bit. I know I saw Corey. I'm scrolling through because I feel like I got everybody there, but I might have missed a few people and I don't want to miss anyone. Nope, I think I am good for this week. You guys are all the best, so thank you for hanging out with me. If it weren't for you guys tuning in, I wouldn't be able to do this because nobody wants to. If I don't have a show, if I don't have viewerships, why would I run a show, right? So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. It means the world to me, and especially, for everybody who's live. Also, thank you to everybody who's watching this in the VOD, in the replay, or is here hanging out with me and not commenting. I see you guys. I know you're there, and it still means the world to me that you wanted to hang out and spend your Friday evening with me. With that being said, as always, you can catch me, if you want more of me, you can catch me on Twitter right here at Kabuto Writer Mav. If you want to see more of me live before next week's show, you can catch me 9 p.m. Eastern time over on the Bounding Into Comics channel for the 01 stream, weekly stream where myself, Josh Berger, Cider Hype, Jacob Smith, and our girl Nerdigans, we all get together. We talk about the biggest pop culture news of the week. I know we didn't hit the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer like I said we were going to, but guess what? That's probably what we'll talk about on Wednesday. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, be there. Aside from that, you can catch me on That Game Place Wednesdays at when do they go live? 3 p.m. Eastern time, where I am joined by Jonas J. Campbell, Marvin the Movie Monster, Stone Loki, Culture Casino, oh my gosh, he's in my, I can see it. Nolan Thunder, Space Dave. Those guys, they're the best. They know what they're talking about when it comes to video games. So come hang out with us over there if you want some video game news. As always, next week you can come back here, same Mav time, same Mav channel for another episode of The Good, the Mav, the Ugly. As always, we don't determine the topics ahead of time. It's going to be whatever comes our way in the following week. So hopefully there's something good to talk about and I don't have to bore you guys with more ranting about Zeb Wells' Amazing Spider-Man. Quick housekeeping note, I am looking to probably start revamping this layout soon, so if you start seeing some changes around here, don't worry, it's all good. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just trying to give you guys a far better interactive hangout experience. So until next week, guys, thank you for hanging out. Go play some great video games. Go read something enjoyable. Have a good weekend. Before we get out of here, as always, I do have your last call for last minute news. And you guys know I love to bring things full circle here on this show. I always like to end up where we started. So this week, in honor of Kevin Conroy, given his final appearance in Crisis was shown this week, and given my binging of Batman Brave and the Bold, I present to you one of the a favorite clip of mine from the series featuring Kevin Conroy, Batman. It's all good. Just hang out, watch it. I'll see you in a second.
Stranger, you just cost me a big score, and now you're gonna pay the price.
It's you who must pay the price for your life of crime.
What? Deja vu?
The Bat Radio, one of my better crime-fighting inventions.
I don't believe it. Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm Batman of Earth. I've been stranded here.
Then welcome to the planet Zur-Enar. Here, I'm Batman.
Given the infinite possibilities in an infinite universe, it's logical two Batmen would come to exist on two separate planets.
Then I assume, as a crime fighter, that you too were inspired by one of these.
Something like that.
Told you. Absolutely top tier Batman adaptation. Also, before we go, fun note that I just remembered while watching that clip. So that Crisis in Infinite Earths cameo we saw from Kevin Conroy, that was supposed to be a big ol' ass surprise for this movie. When it came out, we were all supposed to go, oh crap, it's Kevin Conroy. But then they released Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, had his final cameo there where he gets blasted in the face and put down. Everybody got angry, understandably, so Warner Brothers had to go out and go, no, don't worry guys, he's totally going to be in Crisis. They had to spoil their own movie to save their own skin. It always makes me laugh. Just another great example of how all the people in charge of our institutions have no idea what they're doing. Stay safe out there, everybody. I'm sure I'll talk to a lot of you guys throughout the weekend. As always, like I said, if you want to tag me on something in Twitter, share something, DM me, do it. I'm there. You can hit me up on Discord, all that fun stuff. Until next time, take it easy, guys, and I will see you very soon.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
no way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him, like, burned and...
I don't even know who that guy is.